All right, welcome back to Dirt Sociable. We got a Pro Buggy team on here. This Pro Buggy team is made up of RC racers, community members, entrepreneurs, hard workers, innovators, and of course, joining us is Michael Meister and Brad.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going pretty good. It's an awesome Friday night, enjoying some bubbler.
Yeah, I gotta crack mine open here yet.
Ooh, that's a good sound. Yep.
Yeah, a crisp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great to be here. Awesome setup you guys have, and I look forward to having some good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. The general consensus that comes to when I asked a bunch of people about you and like good stories, good questions, all that, they're like, well, he kind of just came out of the woods and started winning.
I guess what was it? I think it would have been the third race. It would have been Spring Crandon that first year. But I guess in a way, but I mean, it was, fortunately, we kind of hit the ground running and had some good people involved in the program at the time and just a lot of help. I mean, from when we started, everybody's been super helpful. And, we continue to try to help out people, that same way because it's an awesome group of people off-road racing.
Yeah, the camaraderie of off-road racing is second to none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say to combat that, I think you had Mark Steinhardt helping you from day one.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's kind of explains a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good person to be having
Right off the get-go, yeah.
So what got you into off-road racing?
Well, I guess it goes back to kind of getting into the RC racing. I guess it was still during high school, and I started RC racing. It would have been my dad and I went to the off-road Crandon races. Yep. We did Bark River Crandon, say those last couple of years of my high school, and the Traxxas truck was still selling RC cars, and they were racing and everything. And we bought an RC car and then went racing. And then, say, my dad's originally from Crandon, so we knew a lot of people like, say, Face S&E, Richie Cooloff, Whitey Brownell, like all those guys. So we just had good communication with them, and they were like, hey, a couple of years into getting into the RC and everything, they were like, hey, this pair of buggies from this guy off-road team is thinking about selling them. Would you guys be interested? And at the time, things were going well for us. Even starting out, my dad and I started fresh just with the situation going on, and we were really busting bud, and the two buggies kind of came about, and we had communications with them, and it would have been Andy Zipper's cars.
Oh, Zippers, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So got in contact with them, and then, we didn't know anything about off-road racing. All I knew was RC racing. And, we kind of knew Mark a little bit from just being around at the racetrack and everything. And we called him up and had a conversation with him like, hey, there's these two cars available. Would you be able to, like, say, mentor me a little bit and then, give him the opportunity to get into the Pro Buggy class or Super Buggy class at that time?
Yeah.
Everything worked out like that. Everything ran smooth, and say now looking back at it, say I'm married to his niece, and we have a really good relationship with the Matthew family, Steinhardt's, Nelson's, like Shillman's. Yeah. It's a really fun time, and Brad's been with me. Like, we met each other through RC racing, and have a really good friendship, and we both have, say, similar personalities as far as the hardworking, and we're very competitive, and I think that's really stood a test for, say, our success in this off-road.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you married into the Steinhardt family to get all the go fast secrets.
Yeah, it's crazy how everything worked out, but I'm thankful for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys just meet at the RC track, or how did that just so happen to start racing the same races? Or
So I was curious if you remembered.
Do you?
Not a chance.
No, I guess the only thought would be like Dirt Heaven, or even like at Clark RC Park in Watertown, like, say, summertime racing or something.
So I think Michael and his dad were coming to the track quite a bit. And I was at that point racing multiple times a week. So I think that kind of just, we were the same age, started to talk quite a bit. I was friends with some other guys that were doing the short course thing and racing RC for fun on the side. And then that kind of just naturally came into, I think you messaged me one day once the buggies were gone that hey, this was going to be a thing. And if you wanted to come hang out, come hang out. And I think I got a wrench put in my hand at some point, and then it never really stopped from there.
Yeah.
And then I had to learn just the same way he did.
Yeah. Just by somebody teaching you or by example or by failing and finding, all right, we don't do that anymore.
That's probably very realistic of, say, how the years have gone. Like, say, I had no experiencing like mechanical, and I just didn't have any experience with that whatsoever. And ever since, say, doing what I do for my industry and then getting into the off-road, things have really progressed since. But yeah, I mean, say we didn't know a whole lot when we started in 2016, and say Brad, it was more, he's come into just kind of taking care of everything, spotting, say crew chiefing, like making adjustments on the car and just us working well together. But yeah, we've had a number of people say come and go, and not for the worse or anything. It's been fun to say take it through the years. But yeah, I mean, Brad's been awesome since the beginning there.
I think the RCs probably gives you a base of some basic car mechanics as far as your roll center stuff, your shock, how to make shock adjustments, some of that. So you have some basic racecraft. Yeah. I think is one reason, like you can say you hit the ground running. Well, he has some basic racecraft because you get that from racing an RC car.
Yeah.
You have to understand corner entry, how to back up a corner if you're driving too far, how to open your entrances up, which is something that we discuss with him almost yearly, about not chopping the corner off too early. So I think you have a basic understanding. So it wasn't like you just came in and never raced anything before and then jumped in a race car. To a sense, that's what happened, but you still have a basic understanding of how a race car works, and I think that helped a lot.
And even dialing it in, I mean, you can change the camber on an RC car, and you're going to feel that as you're driving it, you know what I mean? So you kind of get a lot of that same mechanical aspect of it too.
Right.
So. And even even all the adjustments, RC racing is more than, say, what we can do with the off-road thing. So, I mean, and Brad's always been great with that. Like he RC raced years with his dad before I even know him. And, he's had all kinds of experience, and that really plays into a positive for, say, if I get out of the race buggy and he's like, all right, how does it feel? And more or not, he can make adjustments on his own to how he sees it. Yeah. And then I can give him some feedback too. But I mean, he really handles a lot of, say, different ideas, because I'd rather just let me sit in it and put laps down and get used to it. But, he's pushing it to get better and better, because like, say, our class, that's what everybody else is doing, is, say, progressing, getting better and better. So we need to do that too.
Yeah, that's a good point with like RC. I know I talked to, like, for example, Circle Track Benji Lacrosse. He comes from RC World too, and they say that all the time. Like, a lot of that stuff they could take and put it to the car, and that's how they learned some of their basic stuff too. So I think you called out a good point. Like, the RC, there's just so many adjustments you can make, scale them, shock weight, all that and stuff. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think you see like Benji Lacrosse, CJ Greaves, two guys that are as cool and calm and collected as they are behind the wheel. They drive an RC car the same way, the exact same way. The car doesn't look like it's going anywhere near a top qualifying pace, and every time it is. And Benji's one that's really good at that. The car is never out of shape, but it's always fast, and at the end of the race, it's always there.
Yeah. So your RC world is, we were discussing this a little bit earlier, but it's more the roundy round setup, or?
No, so I started in off-road, did off-road stuff from the time I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old until I'm still doing that now.
Yep.
I just have dabbled in dirt oval a little bit. Some friends of mine have just got me into that in, I would say, the last 5 or 6 years. I really enjoy it because it's so off-road for us has gotten to the point now where we run on like a clay track that's really hard packed, and we don't really run treaded tires anymore. We almost run like a slick tire.
Yeah.
When I was coming up my years, we raced on loose tracks like you would see at Crandon or Bark River, where the track will blow out. You're going to run a treaded tire.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up racing. That's what I love. And RC has went away from that.
Yeah.
So dirt oval gets me back to that. Every dirt oval track I go to now pretty much has some sort of loose dirt, treaded tires, where how soft the tire is does matter. And you throw in rooster tails every once in a while, depending on the track prep. And
Nice.
it takes a little bit more from the driver's standpoint to wheel a car that way. And that's just the way I prefer it. I'm just a little old school like that, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to race. We were just talking. Was it
13, 14.
2013, 14, and that's kind of the era that short course was more beat up
Right.
in the RC world. So
And I would say that's how we probably really bet, was when short course kind of took off in the RC world.
yeah,
That's probably how we started hanging out quite a bit. Our dads became friends for a while, and I think we were just going to the same races. That was back when you were trying to go to more races, I think, too, and
Right.
start.
Yeah. Well, even like into the, say, we're talking a lot about 10 scale, but like even the A scale outdoor nitro electric buggies, truggies, that type of thing, like that's a learning experience in itself. But yeah, we did that a lot during the summer too.
yeah.
That is one thing I personally have not. I've not done a ton of nitro stuff, but I would agree with you. That's probably a whole nother ball game.
It's an expensive ball game to get into as well.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what got me out of it. I just couldn't afford to keep doing it at a hobby level anymore.
Yeah, it's funny because we love the real big truck racing. We love the V8 sound and the engine motor sound.
Right.
And then you go to an RC track, and you're like, I'm just gonna deal with the electric.
Yep.
That gas stuff is like high maintenance.
Well, I think, too, I was going to bring this up before, the biggest area where he's probably improved is giving feedback on what the car is doing.
Yeah.
The first, I would say, 4 or 5 years, I could get nothing out of him when he'd get out of the... Whoa. I could get nothing out of him when he'd come off the racetrack.
Yeah.
And how does it feel? It feels good. Okay, well, yeah, and then finally, I think the year Trey Gibbs raced Pro Buggy.
Yeah.
And he didn't run a full season, but we thought he was going to. And he kicked us in the teeth a couple times.
19.
Yep.
He's got it. He's got it. burnt in his
I
mind.
remember this is where we run into the same, or we're a little bit the same. I think I came off the spotter stand pissed, and I think he came out because Trey drove away from him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even close. The car wasn't close, and I don't think it allowed him to really show what he was capable of either. And I think from that moment on, like, we had to sit down of, we've got to improve, and the only way to do that is if you're going to tell me how to improve the car.
Yeah.
But that's also really difficult when you don't truly know how to improve the car.
Yeah.
So that's where Mark Steinhardt, CJ Greaves, a lot of those guys have come in and helped. Matt Gerald's been another one that we could lean on for advice of, what do we do here? What do we not do?
Yeah.
So I'd say that's probably been the biggest attribute for him.
Yeah.
I was when I was racing, I had Matt Gerald also helping me, and one of the things he kind of pounded in my head was, get off the track, go in a trailer, don't talk to anybody, go to a notebook, and write down the notes. Have the track kind of drawn out so that you can just put notes by the corners and stuff like that.
It's a really
And-
good idea, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't told you guys that yet.
Well, maybe he's hanging on to a couple
Yeah,
things yet.
he's
I
Got a
don't
couple
know.
speed, he's got a couple speed secrets left in there.
No, Matt's always been really cool, and he's
Oh,
been
yeah.
racing RC with us more here. I don't get to see him much anymore just because of my schedule doesn't meet with his, but
Yeah.
he's been super helpful. Really, everybody has been. The offer community is pretty awesome in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a second on, like I said, on the camaraderie and helpfulness. So
Yeah, so going back to like the RC conversation. So obviously you brought a trophy. So you want to
Yeah.
talk about the trophy a little bit and
Sure.
where
Yeah.
you won that?
So, like, say over the years, say Brad and I, just becoming friends and everything, we've actually done a fair amount of traveling, say around the country to different RC events. Like, say, I don't know, like in high school, out of high school, I guess our responsibility was a lot less than say it is now, and say things have had to go on the wayside, unfortunately. But it's fun to look back at that times. But yeah, I mean, say we've gone to California, Arizona, Omaha, Nebraska, but like say specifically in 2016, we went to the 10 scale electric off-road nationals, and that was in Omaha, Nebraska. That was indoor, hard pack clay track. But say in the RC racing, there's stock classes, so like slower versions of the cars, and then the modified classes, and that's where the professional racers that travel worldwide, countrywide, that's their class to race. So I ran, or mainly what I do now is say the stock racing, being that I only do it a couple times a year at most.
Yeah.
But say in 2016, I was able to win the 17.5 stadium truck class, and it's very fun to look back on. And that would have been say days of qualifying, and then triple A mains, so you just don't have one A main. So it would have been 3 5-minute races.
Oh, geez.
And I don't remember what my results were, but I had to race the third race to win it. So I think maybe I got like a third or first or something. But I still remember that day, to be honest. I was shaking so bad on the driver's stand. Even last weekend, we went and raced down in Milwaukee RC racing, and I don't know what it is. Like, it's just the little radio in your hand, and my hands are just jittery. And I remember one of the people racing against me during that 2016 race, they specifically said, like, Michael, you're shaking so darn bad. And I'll always remember that. But yeah, no, it was a fun time. We've done lots of traveling, but yeah, that's what this trophy is the national championship for the 17.5 stadium truck.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any big wins?
Yeah, so for me, I typically race modified class. I don't get to race stock class much. Just sponsor obligations and stuff in the past haven't allowed me to. I've got one win with the car that's sitting over here. It's more of a one-off event. I would call it like almost like a fall Crandon, in a sense, where there's an open class of 100 drivers that get in. It is only modified. There are no stock classes at the event. It's 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive buggy. So it'd be like a Pro 2, Pro 4 type thing. And then those 100 drivers race for a chance to get into the invitational class, which is the top 30 in the world. I was able to win the open class in 2018. So small regional wins, stuff like that. Never like a stock national championship. Maybe back then could have been competitive enough to do it, but I'd moved up to the modified class at that point already. And once you move up to that class, you don't move down. It's something like you're not going to see a guy from Pro 2 or Pro 4 really come down to not light buggy, but 1600 buggy or something like that. Often it has happened.
They had to write a rule for it.
Right. So, yeah, I have one win like that. That's a big win under my belt. And then kind of right as I was getting to that point of that starting to top out, life took over, and we unfortunately had responsibilities that came to. And
So is it that car right
that
there?
is the car.
I'm gonna grab it, put it on the table for you.
Fair enough.
So then, like, when you go to races now, do you still run modified then?
Yes. So like Michael raced 2 stock classes last weekend, and I raced 2 modified classes.
Okay. So is that with like Dakota and all those for RC?
Yeah.
All right.
So all your top guys were there. I got my butt kicked, just not being able to do it as often anymore. If you don't really, if you're not running multiple times a week, it's very tough to keep up with that group. Used to be able to back in the day, but not so much anymore.
Yeah. I could imagine it's like with anything, right? Like, even like I bowl a lot, so if you don't bowl multiple times a week, the people that do are going to outpace you.
Right. And that's where I think I was actually pleasantly surprised with how he drove last weekend, just because he hasn't done it in so long. But we talked about how do I say this? I would say you got significantly better at racing an RC car once you started working.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And I think moving the joysticks is almost like playing a video game in that logging machine, to the point where your hand-eye coordination gets significantly better.
Yeah.
And I don't do enough. Like, I probably should play some video games or something to actually prep for a race nowadays, just because your hand-eye coordination is 80% of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's the car. Did it in
Rear tires are pretty well cooked on that one.
well, ironically, so that's about how you wanted them.
Really?
So
Okay.
this was like in a transition period where we went from treaded tires to between treaded tires and slick, running a full slick tire, to where you wanted the center of the tire to be slicked out to where there wasn't much tread on it, and then having some pin on the outside, which would help you if you got out in the dust a bit, or just overdrove the car a little bit. The pin would save you, but that was the fastest option at the time.
Sweet. So this is mod class, right?
Yes.
So is there's any custom parts in there?
So this car, Associated took it back. I want to say the rear tower was actually made by C-Pod. That was the big thing with this car.
Oh, really?
Corey Podolsky cut this tower for me 2 weeks before I left.
Okay.
And the tower is a mil and a half lower in the upper shock mounts,
Yeah.
which was to change the up travel a little bit, and then also the droop on the bottom.
Yeah.
It just gave me some more options, and then the problem that we ran into was the axle was not long enough.
Yeah.
So we ran a longer axle. However, that caused problems with the rear pivot and the width there. So I forget exactly how we fixed that. I haven't looked at this car in forever. I just pulled it off the shelf today. But I know it actually went back to Associated for a couple of days, and they had taken it apart just to look at it.
Wow.
But no, that's kind of the big thing about this car is Corey had made the shock towers, and now obviously that he's gone, so it's a little bit sacred and close to my heart now. So
Yeah. No, I'd just leave it.
means a little. Oh yeah, and that's the way it came off the track. Everything is still in it, and it'll never change.
I heard some people clean their cars after they get off the track.
I don't know what it was.
That your
Yeah, my stadium truck. I don't know. I guess.
Just have it.
Habits.
Yeah, like I utilize say things to other builds or something in the future. But yeah, looking back at it now, I should have left it like say Brad did with his. But yeah, there's still like OCRC, the track that they raced at in California. Like it seems like a little bit of clay on it, or just the color of the tire.
Yeah, I knew the moment they crossed the finish line that car was never going to turn another lap. So that race is big enough that the car is getting retired the moment you find out you win, you're done.
Yeah.
So we built a new one the week after and went back racing.
That's awesome. Yeah. Some big teams, they'll take their trucks or some of their chassis or whatever and put it up in the shop for like big ones.
What does that ever take for an off-road team to do that? Do they decide that, well, I've got a big win, so we're going to build a new truck? And that's a big expense to just incur.
I forgot who I was just talking to, but somebody said that they would never sell a truck. I think it was a Jimmy Johnson truck or something along those sorts, and they were trying to restore it and, something like that. But, yeah, I don't know. When you take and get that win, that's a big expense to hang it on the wall.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, this car sitting the way it is probably $2,000 sitting on the table. So thankfully, I had enough sponsors back then that I didn't have to pay for anything else. It was just stuff started showing up, and because a couple of them thought I was going to run the car again, so they sent me stuff really quick to make sure that I didn't.
Yeah.
Just back then, because it being in college, like it was making ends meet and going to races any way I could. So.
Yeah, I think maybe going back to like the truck stuff, they probably have a lot of proprietary stuff in the truck too that they don't want to sell, and they're going to build a new truck. So,
well, I see. Is it Lucas Oil Stadium that's got Carl Renezetter, one of Carl Renezetter's old trucks up there?
Yep.
So those just maybe demo vehicles, or what are the?
Yeah, Crandon's got a Renaissance truck too.
Yeah, I think they're just old versions of the trucks that got replaced over the years. When we were in Glen Helen, I forgot who it was, but they were talking about some of Rob Mack's stuff, I believe, and that he is just sitting in shops that won't come out in full trucks over the years. And then everybody's like, why don't you take them out? Nah, they're fine there. Yeah, so one thing we like to do is ask all our guests kind of 6 questions. We call it the Sight Lap. The first one, what's your favorite track of all time?
All right. Well, Brad might not like my answer, but just from the drivability and being in a race car, I got to say Bark River. Just the flow to the track is superior over any other ones. Things haven't gone great at Bark River either, but just the flow and say the atmosphere around is why I have to say that's my favorite.
That's about like 90% or more of everybody's favorite track.
Yeah.
Except Brad's.
My blood pressure goes up every time we go there. From the moment that we cross the Michigan state line, my blood pressure goes through the roof until I cross back into Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Just because he hits so much shit at that track. To the point where the last 3 years we have went, I have pleaded with him to stay away from the infield tractor tire beef in the S section before the Taco Bell jump. And every year we have hit it since then. I think we have tore up more stuff at that one racetrack than all the other tracks combined, I would bet.
Yeah.
I think I've seen you upside down
Twice.
Is it not 3 times?
What was that one time you went upside down a couple times in the same incident?
Yeah.
Well,
The pirouette on the front straight is
yeah,
what
that was earlier on, and that might have been my first or second year.
Okay.
It would have been going right over the tabletop finish line, and I clipped Ryan Schwabe's tire, kind of going up, and it kind of sent me, and then kind of nosed and pirouetted, and then I landed on my tires, and I believe I kept going for that race. But yeah, like say what Brad was saying, just to be fast on that track, you have to put all the corners together and just flow. And say going up to that Taco Bell jump in like that S section after those 2 big roller jumps, and some of them years those things are pretty big. So that second, I think there's 2. That second one, you kind of land sideways, and you're pitching it sideways, and sometimes they're cutting more and more into that dirt, and say that tractor tire, the dirt berm, and I've broken tie rods. I broke a tie rod there, bent arms, probably shock shafts. But yeah, that's what Brad always hyped on me is like, just stay away from the damn corners, like on the apexes of the corners. But I don't know, to link everything together, I'm just trying to push to that edge too, and it's difficult sometimes. Sometimes you get a little more grip than others, but yeah, and then a couple of years ago we had that bad wreck and stuff, and that was just a bad day, bad race, and but we've learned a lot having those issues, and say the people that have helped out from that too. So yeah, but sorry to ruin the quick answers here.
No, you're
fine.
fine.
Supposed to be quick.
Yeah.
So that makes sense why you don't like Bark River then.
Yeah, just every time that car comes back from a race at Park River, it is not destroyed. Well, 2 years ago it was destroyed, but at the same time, I think the vibes in the pits are still just as good because everybody's happy to be at Park River.
Yeah.
So it's usually going there. I know what's fixing to happen, and when I'm leaving there, the fixing has happened, and it's now we're gonna go spend a week trying to get it back together before Cran. And that's the worst part of it too, is you wreck something at Park River, you get the biggest race of the year likely next on the schedule. So you're trying to make sure that everything is as good as it can be. And I know the Bark River crash caused us problems 3 days into Crandon, even with all the help from Mikey and everybody else. Like we were still chasing small wiring issues and things like that. So
yeah, it'd be cool to get into that a little bit, because just all the people that offered the help.
Yeah,
and otherwise we wouldn't have been racing at all.
That was the over the hill off camber.
Yep. Yeah.
You almost like you pretty much did rip the whole rear cage off.
Yeah, the rear cage, the engine was kind of cocked, the transmission mounts, the rear trailing arm mounts. What else?
I'd say almost everything from behind the seat pretty much had to come out and either be cut off or straightened or fixed, replaced.
But
And that's luckily what I think between usually Bark River and Crandon 3 weeks, 2? Mm-hmm. 3,
yeah,
I think it's 3.
That was a quick turnaround, and do you guys want to get into it? Or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So say after that race, say packing up and I was just like, all right, let's just pack the shit up and let's go home and take it from there or whatever. And then on my way home, I got a text message from Mikey Vandenhoevel, and he was like, hey, if you need anything or any help, just let me know. And I was like, I was just thankful, say, to get that text message. But so then I think we kind of took the day, or we just started chatting about things, and I think it would have been that next Tuesday after the race weekend, or maybe it was on a Thursday, the car was taken over to Mikey's shop and say everything taken down. And I brought so much crap over. Like, I brought the majority of my toolbox, like, say, to work on the car, but it was say every evening after working that I ran over to their shop and worked on it. But say Brad, say during that time, during the days, he helped Mikey, like, say, take things apart, put things on, help, in every which way. And that was greatly appreciated as far as even a cost help, instead of, like, say, having more guys on at Mikey's shop. Brad was able to help with that. But yeah, I mean, to get that thing back together and everybody's help involved. I mean, like, even Dylan Parsons, like, just, he didn't even say anything. He just took my shocks that needed to be replaced and fixed up at the shafts and everything. Like, just people just did something to help out, and that's awesome. And somehow we got it back together, but there were still little things that, wiring harness, one of the fuel injectors, like on the positive side, was pulled out. So that first Friday for Fall Cranon race, it would have been the cup race. The cup race. I was running on 3 cylinders, so we yanked it, and I think it was okay for the rest of the weekend. But little things. There could have been some other things, and but yeah, it's a hell of a doing. And say, looking back at that now too, is say C-Pod was around in that shop, I wouldn't have been able to spend that time, say, with him if the crash hadn't happened and everything. So all in all, I'm, say, thankful to have, say, some days or some hours with C-Pod with the rest of the crew there. So I'll always remember that, even though it was a bad situation. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anytime there's a wreck, I feel you're, like, if you don't get out and get a chance to practice, you're always chasing something. There's always, like, that one thing after the wreck you're always chasing. Mm-hmm. That, like, no matter how hard you put it back together, it's always one thing that just so happens to be unaccounted for.
Yeah. I think that even spilled over into the next year, didn't it? I think we still had something with the wiring harness, or...
that was a different harness, but
was
yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember remnants of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I went to, I took the week off of work, thankfully. Like, we didn't have much going on, so it wasn't a big deal. And I got an opportunity then to watch Mikey and those guys do what they do. So for me, it was a huge learning experience to basically, you're just holding wrenches for those guys at that point or watching them do what they do. But if you need a hand, you're at least there. Yeah. And then I think everybody in that shop had a hand at some point of working on that car that week, which was cool for me. Just because I knew all these guys, with Matt and C-Pod and all these guys. They're all friends with him, and everybody pitched in to help out. And if they hadn't, that car would have never gotten done.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, even like Dalton that helps out Mikey, even Rayford, and, everybody involved. It's a cool crew over there, and I'm beyond thankful for everything that people did. And, it couldn't have happened in that 2-week turnaround otherwise.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's always the crazy thing to see, like, vehicles, one, get turned around at the track if something happens, but then even the short window between races, like, if you have to, like, almost take the whole back end off and redo it, it's amazing to see how fast some of those come back together.
Mm-hmm. I think with 3 days left, I looked at it, and I didn't say anything, but I thought, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's not a chance in hell. Mikey's still got to basically figure out the rear arm mounts yet. Thankfully, I think Larry Job had wrecked his car the same weekend.
Yeah, that was part of the first wreck that race.
So Larry's car was apart, and I think they took measurements off of his car. Otherwise, I don't know if we would have got it done, or if they would have got it done. And just to build the whole back of the cage and get all that squared away in the amount of time, I was shocked it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a fast worker. I'm a frequent lunch flyer over there, and I remember showing up and their car was there, and I was like, holy crap, looking at it, and yeah.
Yeah, it was lots of parts being ordered and sent. Like, I was like to Mikey, like, hey, is it all right if I just start shipping things? And thankfully, for the most part, like, say, all the arms and spare parts that way, I had. But like say, I think I need a new radiator and, just random things, even like for the cooling system, like all those rubber ends and whatnot. It's there's lots of things showing up to his shop, and it just kind of was plugged along each day. I think you were there till 2 a.m, and Mikey was just like, hey, just turn the lights off, lock the door when you're gone, and not many people would say let somebody just have free reign of their shop like that, and that was awesome. Whatever we needed, he was more than willing to help out, and great learning experience. Honestly, it's.
Did he give you the bandsaw talk?
I got the brake cleaner talk. That's the talk I got.
Okay, yeah, the bandsaw talk is, because it's used for so much stuff when you're fabricating. He goes, you're feeding something in there. It does not discriminate away from metal, rubber, or your finger.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he was actually welding on a part of the car across the shop, and he stopped and looked up, and he's like, whatever your brake cleaner you're using, throw it out.
Yeah, because it was...
What are you talking about? And he's like, whatever brake cleaner you're using is, I don't know, it's something he could probably explain it better than I could. But it gets up in the air, and it causes issues with welding, the welding of some sort. That or it just stinks, and he just told me that to get me to throw it away. But, so then we had to go out and get a case of whatever brake cleaner they were using just to,
Yep.
I
think it's the chlorination stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So looking forward to 2026, what are you looking forward most, I guess, from track? Like any track you're looking forward to in the 2026 schedule?
I guess I'm looking forward to being back everywhere. Like Wheatland was great to go back. Say, I don't know, a number of years ago we went out and raced when the Lucas events were going on there, and we ran out there, and that was a blast. So I looked forward to, say, last year going out there again and racing, say, with our group of guys. Yeah. But in a way, I'm kind of looking forward to, say, Glen Helen just being different. We went out to Arizona, Chandler for a regional race a number of years ago too, and ended up not getting too many laps. We blew a motor in qualifying.
Ooh, that's the place you don't want
but
to
like
blow a
say, yeah.
Worst spot too, right in the front stretch,
Mm-hmm.
over the tabletop. So he went over. It blew up going up the face of the jump, and then you're kind of at the point of no return.
Yeah, because it's all wall on the right.
Yep,
Yeah.
and had nowhere to go because there were cars coming up the inside, and then it stopped in the worst spot possible.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they got everybody stopped, but
Because that track is tabletop, uphill, and then 180 down, or there's like a step down type jump, right?
Yeah, I think it's varied, but it's kind of a 180, and then it goes back into another 180, and then kind of more of a ski jump.
Yeah.
But yeah, those tracks are really fun. It's they're wide, and you can kind of go in many places as far as taking a line. So it's cool to say get the variety of things say during a race schedule. So I'm looking forward to next year.
Yeah. So you kind of eluded you're going to Glen Helen then.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how long ago this was. I think we've talked about this for a while now, but I was just like, hey, talking with my wife and Brad, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of itching to like say make a run for a championship, or at least do battle with everybody involved. And we just got talking about it, and say everybody was down, and I think we just all kind of have that itch to get back to it a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna do a full season. I have a ton of preparation involved. Or Caitlin, Brad, they've both helped me tremendously. Like as far as sponsorship goes, I've never put this much work into sponsorships before a season, and all in all, I think it's gonna really pay off. I'm really excited for it to, use the least amount of my own money. Will be a great change, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when you have your budget built and money's coming in, it's a lot easier to drive harder, I think, and try to go for those points. Still,
that's
stay away
true.
from the tires.
Yes.
At
please.
Bark
Oh, that might be tough. Yeah. Stay away from the concrete and them white damn tires, yeah. But yeah, it like say some of them years it was like where I was just spending all kinds of money, it seemed like, and results weren't like say 2023 was that year where nothing was going right and everything, and it just become like just on myself mentally, like, man, this is really hard to just keep going and going. And we pushed through. I mean, all in all, you know, even after that Bark River crash, I mean, we ended the year with a win at Crandon. I mean, that was, you couldn't ask for anything more. But just to not have to worry about as much of a budget,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. And, you know, I'm sure things are still going to come up budget wise, you know, that always do. You never know what's going to happen. But at least we're starting off on a better note than we ever have.
Yeah.
And it's just great to have really good relationships with everybody involved. A lot of it's been, say, year after year building, and this is a really good building year, say, from the last few.
Yeah. You got a different track you would say you're looking forward to the most besides Bark River?
Man, not being a driver, not necessarily. You know, I think as far as watching him race, I think obviously Crandon's the best spot to watch him run. I think I look forward to, I'll say ERX and Bark River to a sense, because the vibes that everybody gets, like all your buddies are excited to go to those two tracks.
Yeah.
Anago, I think everybody gets excited because it's one of the first events of the year and everything's still fresh yet. But those two events, I get excited because everybody else gets excited.
Yeah.
Where you're texting with them on their way there, where you at yet? That's what gets me going. When everybody else is happy to be there, and even whether it's raining outside. Haven't been to ERX how many years now where we've been rained out or stuff's been delayed. But everybody's still having a good time. So those are what I like. The racing with him, it's not second. It doesn't take second to that, but it's definitely something that keeps me wanting to go back, is seeing all your friends and having a good time.
Yeah. Well, if Glen Helen's energy is this year anything like it was last year, the vibes are good.
So do you think that's going to hold out and be the same thing again? Or do you think that was a one? I guess that's my concern, is that everybody went this last year because it was the first time it had been back in so many years. Do you think that holds
I think it's
true?
going to keep the hype, and I think the other champ off-road that's out there is going to keep kind of it's going to keep it warm.
Okay.
So everybody's going to be interested, but they're not going to get all those big pro trucks coming. So when the big pros come, they're going to be excited and they're going to want to go. Now, if we add Firebird or whatever in the area to the schedule, and we go there first, and then we go to Glen Helen or something, something where we're going out west twice in a season, then I think we might find some people saying, well, I'm just going to go to one. I'm going to go to Firebird or I'm going to go to Glen Helen. So you're going to have either one event be subpar and the other one be great, or you're going to have kind of both of them be just in the middle because people are going to split. It's just like Anago and Crandon. They're so close to each other, and they're within 2 weeks apart, or I think maybe even they were a week that one time.
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
So it's hard for those. That's the same neighborhood of people for locals. So I think that we might run into that if we do two out west.
I think, too, what Glen Helen had for it and will continue is so many of the sponsors of a lot of the drivers, they have facilities out there, or it's easier for them to get, maybe someone from overseas into LA to get them to the track. So you saw a lot of sponsors for the drivers at the track. And then, of course, like Ricky G and a lot of those drivers are local. So they brought out a huge contingency of fans. It was, I think it will carry over.
Yeah. No, that's true. A lot of the, say, in-industry sponsorship, that's, say, the mecca of off-road yet. So, no, that makes complete sense. But, yeah, I've heard that, say, a lot of them pro truck teams, like, they had, dozens, if not 100 people or something showing up. And that's cool because, say, everybody can get excited for that event. But, yeah, I guess it might be. I was just going to say, like, say, to do another race out west, I was gonna say like it'd be great to like say stack it up.
Yeah.
But that might be the same thing like you were just mentioning with say doing an Anago and Cranon back to back. Like, all right, maybe people are only gonna choose one to go to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess travel needs to be talked about too because not everybody's gonna commit for that one or for both of them. But you know, if things were split up a little bit differently, that would be greatly helpful too because, you know, there's only a couple people that do it full time and the rest of us have to work. And, you know, it's not like we're racing a truck class or anything, but say our class thankfully is part of, say, that type of program. And that's been a blast. But I guess it'd all have to be figured out if that decision was made.
Yeah. And like schedule wise, we just had Stengel on and they were talking about it was like every weekend or every other weekend that they were racing. And it's like,
Oh, years ago. Yeah.
yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had Mark Krieger on, and he said the same thing. Back in the day, it was always like every single weekend. I'm like, man, how did they prep for that? Like,
Yeah, that's crazy to me, honestly, because it's like, even for me now, it's like, say when we only have, a weekend in between racing, like, I know sooner get back to work, get in a groove, and, we got to go racing on Wednesday that following week. Like, yeah, it'd be a project, but I guess if you had a lot more people involved or something, that'd be helpful too, but I don't know. It's,
Yeah. It always floors me when they're like, yeah, it's every other weekend or every weekend. I'm like, how? If you wreck something, how's that even possible? But all right. I don't think we'll ever get back to that, though. I don't think it'll.
I hope we don't, to be honest.
I think that's a changing of the times too.
Yeah.
When you talk to people about racing 20 years ago or 15 years ago and racing every weekend, none of them really seemed to mind it back then. Was it AJ Schmidt that was on here and talk about his dad they used to come back and prep the car and then leave the next. I think people really lived it back then.
Yeah.
There wasn't all this other stuff to do back in the day.
Yeah.
To where I think now that's really changed societal wise too, where people want their time off. Back then, you didn't need the time off because you didn't have anything else going on.
Yeah.
And I think it's just taken Champ or whoever this long to catch on to that the guys want time off, but I also understand where they got to get their schedule in too, otherwise this all collapses. So
Yeah. And I think technology of the vehicles have probably changed the amount of time it takes to prep and make things, especially if there's damage, you know. Back in the day, I think it was, I don't want to call it simpler, but I think it was a little bit more straightforward.
Okay.
A lot of parts you could get from the local yard, stuff like that. So, I don't know.
I suppose you probably weren't overnighting a transmission from Fortin in 1990.
Probably not.
No, you're going to Grandpa John's and yanking that thing out and hoping it doesn't blow up on lap number 2.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we kind of touched a little bit about our next question here, but what is the toughest track to drive? If you had to nail it down to one.
I was gonna say ERX, but honestly, I could maybe float Dirt City into it because it's just so tight and technical, and it seems like I do struggle at Dirt City. I don't know what it is, but like the speeds are lower, so like everything else matters.
Yeah.
But ERX, like that's kind of has like you have to get a really good flow to it, and you know, hit your marks, don't overshoot things, don't, I guess, land before, like, say, double doubles, like, just nice and smooth and easy. So I guess that'd be one of my two answers there.
I would say probably with Dirt City being such a narrow track too, especially in the wide stance of the buggy, and how important it is for the buggies not to hit their wheels against each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Say, since their change from last year, I guess I didn't run on it last year.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm curious how it, and we didn't go to the race either, but I'm curious what that looks like. I guess I've heard a lot and obviously seen the stream.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that had to have helped somewhat, but all the concrete around, say, some of them smaller tracks that really, you know, makes things a little tighter. But yeah, like, say, our class, I'd say, is one of the most difficult to race on a tight track because, you know, we don't, say, a pro light or whatever, you could just kind of hit door to door.
Yeah.
You're pretty narrow. say our buggies, just like Brad's buggy here, you're just open wheel, wide, and it doesn't take much to get some contact with one another, and then you're out of the race. So everybody, you're either making moves and kind of, maybe rubbing up on people to get to the front, or you're just kind of running in line. And I guess, I don't know. We'll see what this year brings there, but you always have to put a positive mindset on things. Because if you go to a racetrack and you're like, I don't want to be here, and I guess I'm thankful that I got nothing to complain about. We're thankful to be racing buggies and just having a blast with everybody that we know, and I can't say anything negative really anymore. I just have a different mentality on things as I get older. So I think just to have a positive mindset on things and just enjoy whatever happens.
You gotta stay away from the white tires. Stay away.
Yeah.
I remind him of that enough.
So, what is I feel silly not knowing this, but the width, it's got to be right underneath the Pro 2, or is it about the same?
I believe it's like around that 90 inches wide.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it'd probably be equivalent to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, like you said, they're open. They don't get to have a little bump and go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, kind of a rim to rim or tire to tire, like, you can get away with a fair amount there.
Yeah.
But, like, say, when you're kind of throwing a wheel in between, like, say, the Nerf bars and the tires, that's where it doesn't take much to, say, drive over top of somebody and somebody's going for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to kind of go into, did you do any of the buggy pro light challenges? Did you race any of those?
Last year we did, let's see, I must have not ran one of the years, so that must have been, 2 years ago?
2 years ago, we had the down on one cylinder. Right when we started, you pulled off.
Okay. I feel like I didn't race. Was it that following? Let's see, that would have been 23. So 24, I didn't race. And then, 25, this last year, yeah, we ran it.
So
and, so that was my first experience because, yeah, I didn't get to start any of the other ones.
So how does it feel like when you know a pro light's coming up on you and you're in a buggy? Like, what's the mindset?
Well, I guess me personally, thankfully, I didn't have to worry about that. I came up on a pro light. That was kind of enjoyable, and I always remember that one.
Enjoyable for you.
Yeah, but no, it's not enjoyable to think about. Like, say, even Marty Fioca from Crandon, he's a buggy guy.
Yeah.
And even at PRA, we saw him and had a good conversation with him. But he's all about the buggies, and that challenge race is enjoyable. And he asked me my perspective on it. I'm like, it's scary and shit. And he's like, well, is it dangerous? And I'm like, it could be, absolutely. We've seen things happen, obviously, over the last couple of years. But, it is pretty badass racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the concept's really badass, but I got to imagine, and being in a buggy is not that enjoyable especially a truck. I always find it interesting, too, because at Crandon, the buggy's set up way different for the jumps than the trucks. So it's like if you have a truck coming up behind you, like...
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah,
that is
essentially what happened.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, that's always super sketchy because the buggies do jump differently off the front jumps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's even we can run lower in the corners instead of say the pro light's chasing the cushion. We can dive a lot lower and say there's just a little variation that way. But say they're faster on Crandon than we are, but the majority of the other tracks, I'd say, we would be faster lap times. So, like, say, looking back on old racing, like, say, from the Lucas races that did the Pro Buggy Challenge Cup, the buggies actually started behind the Pro Lights. I just found a cool YouTube channel to subscribe to the other day, and the freaking buggies were in the first corner just drilling the side of a Pro Light, and, like, they were getting in it. I'm like, oh boy. that's pretty wild. But yeah, some of them guys are not afraid to mix it up. But say Crannon's a little different because of the high speed. Like I wonder, to look at a different track that way. But I mean, Crannon's Crannon. I mean, that's where the cool racing is, and with the hype.
So obviously the goal then is to check out and never see them.
I think that was the discussion that we had, was if we were going to be outside of the top 3, I think after lap 1 and pro lights started coming, we were probably going to pull off, just because there's so much. The last thing we needed was a Matt Brister incident to happen and then try to rebuild the car before Sunday. Thankfully didn't have to worry about that, but a lot of other guys did. So I don't know if I think they talked about maybe not allowing so many cars in, maybe 10 buggies, 10 pro lights, and running the short track was a possibility, or the mid track maybe, to keep the speed down.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like maybe that was, according to the data from his recorder, I don't know if that's going to make all that much of a difference as far as speeds on the front stretch.
Yeah, because this year I think that there was a bunch of slower pro lights that were causing traffic issues right from the start, and then it just seemed like it was, and the timing might have been not so right, but yeah. I mean, your guys' lap times were almost mimicking, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah. Going out on the track, it was a buggy track.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
It was
100%. It's set
the
up.
best track that say normally, like say Friday night racing at Fall Crandon. Like I guess we've been thankful enough in the class that we're in to have raced, whether it be a Super Buggy, I don't know, cup race, or Crandon's always had the buggies racing, I think, since we started racing a Friday night cup race of some kind, whether it be just our class by itself or with the trucks the last couple of years. But yeah, once, say, the light goes down or the sunlight goes down, that moisture comes up into the track, and it's fun. That's one of the tracks to race on, is just there's all kinds of grip. It's enjoyable to race under the lights, some of them years. But yeah, it's something crazy. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but
Well, I think the split for that would have actually not been quite as bad as what it looked like, but what everybody couldn't see on the live feeder TV, there was a wreck in the back, in between the pro lights, or maybe a couple of buggies got tangled, and Johnny and I think who else was running up front in pro light at that?
Milhausen, wasn't he?
One of those two front guys got held up in they had to roll through that caution, and that cost them, I think, 7 or 8 seconds, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah.
To where it would have been closer. It wouldn't have mattered at that point, because I think Johnny didn't actually run a faster lap than him until like the last 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah.
It was Connor Berry.
Yeah, I was in Connor.
Connor. Okay. Yep.
I think Connor was running the front. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of, everybody was kind of hating on the split a little bit, and the split was probably too much, but nobody really saw the wreck in the back that held a lot of the pro lights up. And I guess, what do you really do about that at that point?
Yeah. We had a long conversation during the race season about that, is when you have those challenge races, I think the key is you have to find a way to hold the caution to the whole field. Like, you can't just have it localized, because we saw it in another race where...
That was the Pro 4 versus Pro 2.
Yeah, where they localized the caution, the Pro 2s went through it, and then they lift the caution flag, and the Pro 4s ripped right through that spot. I'm like, you just lost all that time gap.
And I think that was essentially what happened, just the opposite. The front guys, 4 or 5 guys got through, and then after that, everybody else got held up.
Yeah.
Does F1, I believe F1 can do that, where they can go full course caution and slow everybody down to 40 miles an hour or something.
Yeah.
70,
So,
probably.
The thing that I said to try to penalize local caution stuff is use the dashes, just like F1 kind of does, but you would have to do it post race. So you would know, hey, lap 5, we threw the caution, and have the sectors built out in the actual dash map, and then say, all right, this sector is going to be cautioned, and anybody that went over that speed gets penalized afterwards.
Okay.
So
it's almost the way you'd almost have to do it, or find a way to.
Yeah. But that's asking quite a bit for our sport.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, not everybody has that type of data now, too.
I think
I would say the majority, say in the couple classes here, do at this point. But yeah,
I would say anybody in buggy class to Pro 4 is all going to have them, I think.
Yeah. I got the full Motec and everything just a couple of years ago, but before that, it wasn't as much data.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely great to have all that availability to look at, say through Brandon and Luke at Beyond Redline. They've been tremendous the last handful of years for the program that we have, and it just the same thing. Say I got started in buggy racing, everything was like, say, out west. Like, all right, you had to get everything out west. Transmissions like straight from Fort and only deal with them. Like nobody else had experience. Then like say once I was like, all right, this is ridiculous. We're shipping, say between races that change gears. I'm shipping my transmission in a crate all the way in between in a week's time, and this had to change. So say Ryan Stingle, he's been doing my transmissions for a handful of years, and he's able to do everything, and just we get the parts from Fort in that way. But even like say the engine program, like say everything was out in California, and we've brought it all to say builders in the Midwest here, and then say tuning, say Beyond Redline in Green Bay here. But yeah, it's good to have local support like this.
You just named off 2 guests we just recently had.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan was just on last night, and we were talking about, he's like, I touched the Fortins, I won't touch the Mendiolas. All right.
Yeah. No,
Good.
he's
Lucky
been
for
great
him,
for us.
there's only 2 left in the class that run Mendola, I think, maybe.
Yeah, there could be. Yeah. It seems like people have made the transitions now. It's they're pretty bulletproof for the most part. We've had issues with them, but Ryan's been great to work with locally.
I think that's one of the only things holding the class back from being even bigger than it is the transmission is so damn expensive.
I was gonna say, we're talking like 10 grand, aren't we?
No, like 30, right?
Well, I think now, like, say a new one could be, say, in the at least 20s or maybe up to 30. But
Jeez,
I guess
inflation.
saying that though but all right, say a single buggy engine or a light buggy engine. I mean, you're dropping.
Yeah.
You could be upwards of 10. So I don't know. I think that's kind of I mean, I understand that, but it's kind of a hogwash thing to say too, because there's other classes that just have expensive of components. Like say our engines are actually, I mean, you could go to Roush and spend, I mean, at this point, these years, you could probably spend 20 grand.
Yeah.
I'm not going to I can't do that. Say, we've had, say Bob Burkos do my stuff for the last number of years now, and he's been great. And we're talking about a fraction of that, and just as reliable.
Yeah. I think that's the initial price scares people, but
Yeah.
what they don't realize or don't know is like, you have that up front, but as long as it's reliable, like the maintenance and stuff is less than if you'd go to something cheaper that you're replacing more.
Yeah. Well, then I guess I've never had to buy, say, one new, so maybe my tune would change on that if I if I had to do that. Like, thankfully, obviously, one came with the car, and then I was able to secure another one with somebody else purchasing a car, and that had 2 transmissions. So, it worked out good that way. So, but yeah, they're pretty good for the most part, just changing seals and O-rings, and then make sure everything's not cracked. But yeah.
Yeah, I worked with Engine Bob on Rayford's team for when he did his championship.
Yeah.
He's great to work with.
He's awesome.
So when you got in, when did the LE5, because it's the LE5, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did that engine package start?
Well, it was in the class when I got into it in 2016. I believe there was for sure Toyota engines, because like say Schwabies, even the Volkswagen Rabbit engines, and like say when Steve Creeman was racing, I think Herman Barnum's car would have been, say, something like that. And then Honda engines were a thing also.
Yeah.
I remember the Hondas being big when we started.
Yeah.
So that was like the same Honda that the 4-cylinder trucks ran? Or maybe not? Don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think say Toyotas would have been pretty similar
Yeah.
to the engine. So, yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for the most part, the Ecotech GMs were kind of in the class for a bit as we were getting into it. So I guess we've never had to change a platform, and for the most part, they've been super reliable. Like that one we ran for I think it was close to 4 years not touching it. And but yeah.
Yeah, I think they're the half a LS, basically, kind of mindset. They're a good sturdy builder that you can build upon. Well, don't build it, but beat upon it and all that stuff. So
Yeah, just
and they come in like every single budget car that GM kind of makes. So
yeah, the Chevy HHRs and I don't know what the year span is like. It's got to be around like that 20 or 2006, 8
because
ish.
they had a direct inject version too. That's not legal if I remember correctly.
I don't believe so. And then there was like a bunch of, say, the smaller type GM cars that had the 2.2s, but these are the 2.4s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for the most part, I mean, it's a solid platform. And years ago, there was talk about, say, when Polaris was getting into, what was it, either their Slingshot or no, it was that UTV, that Pro R.
Yeah.
They were talking about getting that in, and I don't know. I mean, why ruin a good thing? I mean,
yeah, I think GM actually builds their motors as well.
I think Polaris bought the rights to that engine?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
I thought that's what it was, yeah. Because it's a North Star something or other. Yeah.
It's in the Slingshot.
Yeah.
That's where that initially came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we ran into an issue in Joliet in 2017. When did we last go back there? We needed a fuel pump.
That might have been the first year even.
2016?
Yeah, it might have been. Or the second.
Johnny Probst, who I knew from racing RC cars, had found us one. We go to this guy's shop, and it was a micro sprint team or mini sprint, and they ran the direct injected version of that.
Yeah.
And so they had several of them there, and that's how we ended up getting parts for that. But that's why when you said direct injected, you kind of thinking I know somebody runs those engines, and I think that's their in the dirt oval world. That's what they use.
That must be what the, say, Class 10s race in desert then. Maybe the direct injected is just a little bit of a variation to, say, the engines we race. So that might be it.
Yeah, I have no knowledge on the desert
Yeah.
stuff, so I'll just nod my head and say yes. Yes.
That's
Sounds
desert
good,
racing's
huh?
a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
I mean, even the difference between the direct inject one, there's a higher compression ratio, but I don't think the power is really much more sustainable, like a much larger number, and then you kind of lose a lot of reliability with cranking that compression up and dealing with direct injection.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Last thing we need is a class that has problems keeping, cars out there.
Yeah, we already have one of those.
Yeah. So speaking of watching classes and different classes, during a race weekend, is there any class that you always go, we have to get up into the grandstands to watch?
I'd say light buggy for sure. Say just everybody that we've met and everything over the years. Like there's a lot of good people in that, and just amongst the pits that we race with, and that's a blast to watch. Even say my brother-in-law, he won a points championship, Jake Nelson, in the light buggy class, and so I think that holds a special place. And everybody for the most part is, and I was able to race his also that one year at Bark River, and it's a wild class. It's super fun. They may look a little slow, but when you're inside of that thing, you're flying. It's a great class to get into. But yeah, I gotta say the light buggy is. We got to get up there and watch it somehow.
How'd you finish in that race?
Well, that first day,
I noticed you just skirted right past that.
I think that first day, was it a 7th or a 9th? It was okay. And then the next day, it was a little bit of a pinball.
Hit everything
between
but the
some
pace
people.
Tires.
So,
Yeah, actually, well, no, I didn't hit the tires, did you?
no, there was just contact with
I think it was just-
some
yeah, just-
other people, yeah.
There's quite a few light buggies out there.
Yeah. Well, say, what year would it have been? 2018, I'm guessing, or 19. But there's a substantial amount of cars, say, back then. And it was stacked. I mean, or it's always stacked.
I think it
but-
was probably that was still probably about the 30, 40-ish when they would get 30 or crammed in at 40. I think 20.
I missed that. I hope it gets back to that. I hope
Yeah,
it gets
that'd
back
be-
to having 40 cars That was the coolest thing, even at Crandon, watching 40 cars come down the front stretch.
Oh yeah, for the land rush like that.
Where they like they had them stacked 4 lines deep on the start.
Right.
It's like, what?
That's wild.
Yeah.
And nobody threw those cars away. We know that. They're all packer-ratted away somewhere. So they just got to probably clean up the carb and just start her up, put some fresh oil in it maybe.
Yeah, everybody get back out there.
Well, was it Connor or Colin that Jimmy Johnson did the light buggy class for the last couple of years here and just won everything there was to win? Which I don't know which brother it was, but
Well, I mean, they both had really good success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems like they trade off who gets the ring.
Yeah.
I think now that those two are they both moving on?
Yeah.
So I think now that those two, I think everyone else is maybe feeling that they've got a chance to get up there. I think maybe you'll start seeing some guys come back. I hope so. That's my hope anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still got Stingle to worry about, so.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
that's what I mean. You know, I think,
I'm just trying to think of where some of the buggies I know even ended up. Some, like you said, they're laying around somewhere.
Yeah, nobody throws them away.
Sitting in the garage in the corner.
Yeah.
Do you have a different class that you like to always go watch, or?
light buggy's it.
That's
if
it?
We'll drop whatever we're doing as long as it's nothing too serious to go watch light buggy. I like watching the pro. We don't get to ever watch. Is it Pro Light that I usually want to go up, but it's right after us.
Well, even Pro Spec
Even
is
Pro
right
Spec.
after us too.
I'd like to start watching some of those classes, but it just doesn't work out with what we're coming back and getting that type of stuff done. So we always try to make it up for Pro 2 and Pro 4, but it's usually a sportsman class and it's usually light buggy.
Yeah.
Got a lot of buddies that race like Pro Am or Pro Stock UTV, so I like to go watch those as well. But usually we're pretty busy.
That's right before you guys, typically, isn't it? Pro Am and Pro Stock.
Yep.
Yeah, before the
Pro-Am.
break. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Pro Spec's probably going to be another crowd pleaser this year, I think.
No, I think so. It's I got to give it up for the buggies though. I think it's gonna be a good class for us this year too. I think it'll be the most competitive, and everybody I assume is racing.
I was going to ask, do you think because Drapkin only did Crandon and Glen Helen?
Yeah, I think did they do Dirt City too? But yeah, they did a partial. I believe it might be a partial.
Oh, okay.
I've chatted with them a little bit, but maybe they'll be able to put things together and do a full season. But honestly, I give it up to any of those guys that travel like that. Even, they're just a father-son team, and they got to work and everything too. I couldn't imagine that travel expense, so I give them a lot of praise for, packing all the shit up in a trailer and coming out. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, Bonacci ran Crandon and Glen Helen. They didn't really say what they were going to do this year when I was talking to them. But yeah, I think there'll be at least what there was last year for buggies, maybe a few less. I don't know. Be interesting to see.
I wonder if Burn Lower's double dutying or not.
I don't know. I'm curious. I would imagine he'd want to battle yet, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool to kind of see that pan out, because obviously last year it was like points and everything were doing really good for you, and then you had to take your break, and then he kind of got the advantage there.
Right. Yeah. Well, even like Chaden. I mean, he's just a couple of years into it or whatever, and obviously he has an awesome program, and he's a hell of a driver.
Yeah.
And just everybody involved really, or everybody racing is very good. And what was it last year? I said multiple times. I mean, I think there's at least 7-9 people that could win the race. It just depends on the invert, how things shake out in the beginning laps, and
Well, with your track record of engines, you probably should borrow Jaden one of yours.
He can,
See if it goes through the true test.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had it bad, and then he had it bad over the last couple of years.
He still got it bad.
Yeah, he's just bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But,
It seems like they're just keep pushing forward, and that's an awesome team over there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Never give up mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might get stuck there till 4 a.m. every now and then.
Yeah, Crandon for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, it's like
Fair
it's
enough.
starting to get sunny out. What?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, we got to watch races in the morning. And that's like 4 hours from now.
Is Chaden racing pro light or pro spec this year? Was that a possibility?
I'm not sure. I would
Thought
assume
I'd-
that he'd battle and try to keep his points chase, but
Okay, I was just curious. I thought that'd be the natural progression for him to start moving towards a truck, but
I mean, maybe.
Now that you mentioned that, I do believe I seen he was doing some testing, but I know we know that they have that truck sitting there. So
right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's only a matter of time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're on to who's a legend of the sport that has been highly impactful, but hasn't always gotten the mention or the limelight.
Well, I think I got to say Mark Steinhardt. I mean, obviously he's helped me out tremendously over the years, and we're still, good relationship and everything. So I got to say him. I mean, he just keeps plugging along and doing his thing, and he supports a lot of racers. I mean, just doing engine, shock, transmission work. He does a lot of people's stuff, and if some random person walked up to him and asked him a question, he'd absolutely help out. So I gotta say, Mark.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say, well, for the sake of you saying Mark, I'll probably say Mark and Matt Gerald,
Yeah.
just for me because asking them questions, I've asked them some really dumb questions over the last 8 years and not been treated any differently. Just on the understanding of those two, that when you ask a question like, this guy might need more help than the average person just because they're not 100% sure, they don't come from a family that's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
But really Mark too, I think from day one, Mark's been helpful, and no matter what, anytime I go over there, need something or need some advice, he's more than willing to give it. And then if he can't give it to you, he'll make sure that he gets you somebody that can,
Yeah.
if he doesn't know the answer to the question. So I'd
Yeah,
say
he's
it's
not-
Mark for sure.
He's not gonna leave you high and dry. He's gonna help get that answer.
Even with these two racing against each other, I think
Mm-hmm.
he's more than willing to help out. So
Well, you want to beat your competitor on the
Yeah.
track, not in the pits because they couldn't find something.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To support everybody's important.
Yeah, I've asked Matt some silly questions, and he's answered them. I sometimes get some flack afterwards, but he still answers them.
Yeah, he's always been good to me. On the RC side, I try to help out when I can, but he knows a lot of the stuff that
Yeah.
he's even, he may ask me one or two things, but usually he knows the direction he's going already. And I'm just there to, be there. So,
Yep, nudge or, whatever not.
Right.
Yeah.
So 10 years from now, when you look back, what do you want to say you accomplished in off-road racing?
I don't know. Just maybe to be able to help out as much as possible, or just create some sort of enjoyment or camaraderie with everybody. Like, we want to win at all costs, but we want to enjoy it with everybody too. So I don't know, maybe just trying to help out as much as possible, and just, like we were talking about with Mark, like he's been doing it for years, and hopefully I can kind of keep that things going the same way, just be able to help out with everybody new involved.
Yeah.
Even from the RC side of things, like, if somebody new walks into that RC building, like it actually happened last weekend, and a guy just asked me a question about like, hey, my son used to race RC years ago, and then I just kind of told him about like, say how the program works and all the different classes, and then I pointed him the direction of, say, the owner of the track and everything. So just, create a good space, or a fun environment for somebody just getting into it. And I don't ever want to blow somebody off. That's for sure. If Brad will attest to this, like say if somebody comes up to the pit, I'll literally probably be in the middle of something and I'll drop my shit, and maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I want to, give somebody a sticker, or,
Yeah.
I'm nobody either. I'm just a machine operator at the end of the day, and we're just buggy racing during the summer. But yeah, just create a fun time, all in all.
Just a 5-time champion. So just being a good ambassador. I think that's probably
Yeah.
ambassador is a good word for everything that you just said there.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Brad?
I like to say the same thing, but at the end of the day, like the impact I'm going to have is not going to be nearly what his is, right? So I think I'm good with kind of just hanging out. I got a lot of friends at the track that I like to just be able to see. It's one of the reasons I like to still go to the track is they're all in one place. You can see everybody in a weekend. And I know 2 weeks from now we're going to be in some other place next week or in 2 weeks, and I'm going to see you all again. I think just to learn, and I try to pride myself on always trying to ask questions, and I'll learn. So hopefully one day, like when somebody comes to you with that question, you have an answer, and I may have gotten it from Mark or Matt, but now I can help somebody else. That's really it. And I think when we started, we didn't really help anybody out because we didn't know anything. The comment got brought up every once in a while of like, well, those two kind of keep to themselves, or they don't really. That came up once, and I thought, well, it's not really that. It's we just don't know answers. Like people don't come up to us because we don't know the answers to these questions. Yeah. He's running well, which is why they think we know the answer to that question, but they don't realize before the race we were over there freaking out at Mark Steinhardt's big, going, "What do we do with this?" And so I think now in the next 10 years, just like to have some answers to some of those questions that people are going to generally ask, and then just be that way about it.
Yeah. I think being a good ambassador for the support end of everything is a good thing too, because a lot of people, they walk down the pits and of course they want to be the driver and all that. That's kind of like the kid always says, I want to be the doctor or the firefighter, but there's a lot of passion and a lot of reward that comes in for being in the support crew. So I think there's good value in being an ambassador to say, hey, because of what I do, he's out there doing that. So, yeah. Who is the highest skilled competitor that you've raced against, in your opinion?
I'll say Trey Gibbs. That was some good battles for sure a year, maybe part of 2 years. But that was where, like Brad insinuated earlier tonight, that's, say, that team and himself that kind of made us have to work harder for better results. So I guess I'd say him for sure. But there's been a mix over the years. Like, shoot, even the first year that I ran, 16, say that was, say, for that Fall Crandon weekend, that was where all the West Coast guys, like that was when the Georges, even like Sterling Kling, Garrett George, Bud Ward, like all those guys come ready to go.
Yeah.
And so that's where we had to step up, and like them first couple of years, it was, I don't know, up until the last few, I think now we've kind of hit some good strides and everything. And, but before that, it was a lot of learning. But yeah, I'd say Trey or some of them West Coast guys that just come ready to go.
All right. I'm going to spin it off for you on this one. How about highest skills competitor in your opinion for RC racing?
Oh man. Well, that's a little different just because I've raced against all the guys that are doing it for a living.
Yeah.
Back in 2018, like after winning this race, I took, I think, the rest of that year. So I was graduating college in May, and said, well, we're going to make a valiant effort at trying to do this full time for a living. So I went to every big race I could, and basically lived like a pro racer would. I think it ended up being like 6 months. And I didn't have the talent really to take it further than what I was at that point, which was like a national level racer, but not good enough to get paid to bring home a paycheck every week.
Yeah.
There's maybe 8 to 10 guys in the country that do that, and I was probably in the realm of 10 to 30 at that point. So like Dakota Fenn, you mentioned, is probably one. I never got quite to their level. But to do it, you have to get to a level like that guy. You're going to run every day of the week. And just up here, we don't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's probably Dakota or Ryan Mayfield in our sense. I was actually going to say for him, I thought Elliott Watson would probably be
That's true.
the most talented. I think him and Darren Hardesty
Darren, yeah.
were going back and forth when we first got into Pro Buggy in the West Coast series, and we were fortunate enough to become friends with Elliott and his family to where they let us stay at their house when we went out there for the Lucas race in Phoenix, and to see the level that they took Pro Buggy to, it still has not been done to this day.
Yeah.
Gear splits for every single track, going and testing multiple days before every single race just for a Pro Buggy championship.
Yeah.
To this day, I haven't seen the effort. I know we haven't put in that type of effort.
Yeah. It was like a whole new setup in the car for each weekend.
Yeah, I remember going to Wheatland, and I think you were running third, but I don't think we would have really. They were kind of duking it out for first and second, but we were kind of far back in third enough to where like that difference of effort that we were putting in was very apparent.
Yeah.
And then I think Trey was just starting in Pro Buggy maybe at that point. And then that's when he kicked our ass at ERX, and that's kind of when we got the wake up call of like, if we're ever gonna get better at this, we've got to start working harder.
Yeah. What is your guys' typical like like testing? Do you try to do like every single track, or do you just hit the big ones? Do you do any test sessions?
Earlier on, like say Ponce, one of my main supporters over the years, they've rented say Crandon track a couple times through the years, and that would have been say when they supported like the Clyman's Racing Pro,
Okay. Yeah.
Pro Light and everything. So when they were more involved, so that was helpful. But they actually rented the track for me, just myself, that one time too. But I believe it's just been say Crandon that we've never gone over to ERX for a test day. So I guess it's been minimal test days early on before racing started. Like when we first got the cars, we rented out the track ourselves before, like, say, that more test day.
Yeah.
That was always in the springtime. And I probably ran 40 laps that one, and that obviously got my feet wet because that was the first time that I ever got laps in the car. But other than that, it's just kind of been at the Crandon track, and I guess maybe that's where some of our good results have come because we've put a lot of laps in at Crandon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We've tried many of things over the years, just different gear splits. Brad's always messing with the shocks, and that's great. You know, we've kind of wholesaled the shocks, say before last year, and CJ Grooves was a big help with that, and Brad took them over there, and they really did some good work there. So it's just nitpicking on things, like even just updating the car. My car's from 2012, I believe it was built.
Okay.
So like say in the rear end, like it didn't have dual pivots for upper and lower. So that after that first year I had that put on. So it's just been slowly progressing the car, and then obviously the electronics and data that way the last couple of years now too. So
Yeah.
just been a slow progression of learning.
Yeah.
I think the tracks have changed too.
Yeah.
We race on a lot better track now than what we used to. They used to flood the track for Pro Buggy the first 4 years we raced. There wasn't much testing going on or trying something during a race at that point because the track condition was never the same.
Yeah.
To where now we try stuff every time we're going out there almost because you know roughly with starting after what are the opening ceremonies, you know the track's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So we can make some guesstimates on it if we want to try something or make an adjustment, which we didn't have that ability the first, I would say, 4 years we ran.
Yeah.
So we were kind of stagnant as far as just putting the car out there and maybe a sway bar change or something, but that was it.
So, talking about how tracks change, which Bark River do you hate the least? Because they made, 3 changes in the last, in your time period.
I miss the old one. I miss the one with the 3 rollers,
The 3 yeah.
going up to, say, the gravel pit.
Gravel, yeah.
Yeah, that was a blast, say, in the car because you just kind of soaked up the jumps with the suspension on the cars. But
They're not as much fun on UTV.
yeah, that would make sense. But the tabletop's not that bad either. You kind of get a nice pop to it and then try to hit the downside to get some run of momentum. But I guess, last year we ran there, not having the tabletop by the road.
County Road, yeah.
That, the finger was still there on the exit of the corner, but the tabletop was nice because you could get a run on the inside or outside from that previous corner. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that was the biggest difference I noticed, where you could see a strategy to set a driver up for a pass that almost felt like it went away because there wasn't those two different lines in there.
Yeah, I would agree because you can kind of like, over top of like the house corner jump, you can kind of stay wide and then get a run down underneath and then hit that finger jump. And usually that finger on the exit of the corner before the finish line usually isn't that quick. But when you're trying to get a last lap pass or something, that's helpful. We've had some good finishes like that, or just close battles, just being able to change up a line like that.
Yeah. I bet you without that County Road tabletop, the speed going into the right-hander, it's probably going to be a little bit higher, probably not too much, but
Yeah, I
at
would
least
imagine.
5 or 10 mile an hour more.
Sure. Yeah.
So when you started racing then, what was your goals like when you started to get into the buggy? Did you like envision that you were going to win champions? Like, what was the goal?
Man, that's a good question. I guess I couldn't have expected much because I didn't know anything. I guess we had, say, good people involved in the program, and that obviously kind of kicked us in the butt and had solid results right away. But yeah, I don't know. We just took it race by race. A lot of learning. Say at that time, I didn't know anything mechanically, and as things progressed, you just learned more and more. And we tried different things as time went on. But I don't know. It was, I guess, as just time went on, the competitors in us, that's where we just started wanting more. So, and we just want to be able to battle. If we go to a racetrack, I feel like we have a good shot at having good results, and Brad and I are the same that way. We're just super competitive, and we want to win, but it's going to be a battle for sure.
Yeah. When Brad, when you joined the team, did you think you were going to get to 5 championships?
Well, probably not, no. I think now the last couple meant more than the first 2, I would say. The first 2, we weren't racing a ton of cars. Just to be quite frank, year 1, there was 4 or 5 other buggies.
There's a solid 6 usually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think now it's way more, like since COVID on, it's been way more satisfying than anything we did pre-COVID. Well, 2019 was a good year, I think.
Yeah.
So 5, no, but I figured once he got 1 or 2 under his belt, I think that's when I thought, okay, well, he's going to keep doing this, and if he doesn't move up and he keeps racing this class, he'll get a couple more. It's just going to be whether he's willing to evolve with the car and be willing to give the feedback that's needed.
Yeah.
Because the car wouldn't have been capable 7 years ago of doing what it's doing now.
Right.
And that's, I think, through Mark's help, CJ's help, I think that car's not anywhere near what it used to be.
Yeah, just the way it evolved.
Right.
Yeah. Do you feel that your profession helps you with the track support stuff?
Honestly, no.
No?
Not really. Maybe keeping your cool a little bit, which I do sometimes I don't. I'm a little more passionate than Michael is in a sense of I let my emotions get involved. To where like I don't think we've ever really fought.
Right.
I would say we've been friends for 14, 15 years now.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. Since
We've never fought ever. But like we had a moment at Dirt City 2022, 2023. Forget what it was. It was the year that everything just was going to shit.
Yeah. When tensions are high.
Yeah, everything was going to shit. And we kept kind of chalking things up to bad luck. Like every weekend we go, it's just bad luck this, bad luck that. And finally at Dirt City, forget what happened, but I came back and I was like, this is not all bad luck. Like neither of us had done a good job of prepping the car. Like we had kind of thrown it together last minute and put it in the trailer and went to the track, and it fell apart or something happened as soon as we got there. I think we had a brake line that got cut while we were working on something else.
That was like where the battery was not working properly, losing voltage, and then power steering line that one day too. But yeah, I remember Brad, he just, not losing his cool, but he was like, all right, this is not, we just can't keep saying like, hey, this is bad luck, like something needs to change. And it got kind of knocked my ass into, all right, we need to say, get this going a little better, or just, I don't even know what to say, like, prepare this better. And that seemed to help. Like,
I think it was the only time we've ever had a heated discussion where we both went our separate ways for maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, what are we doing here? You're spending all this money. I'm taking time off work. Like, we both need to put in, if we want to get out what we both want out of it, we've got to put in more work. There's just no other way around it.
Yeah.
And since then, I think it's been good.
Yeah. But Brad's a good leader. I mean, obviously in his day-to-day work and everything, he's able to just, and Caitlin, I got to say too, like my wife, she don't take no shit. So, she'll let me hear what I need to hear. And Brad's the same way. Like they're not, both of them too, they'll gang up on me and just, kind of get me going in the right direction. And I need to hear that too. Otherwise nothing proper gets done. So it's a good, fit with just our small team. And, we all know each other's place and, one way to support each other.
Yeah.
Well, for him, it's harder to turn work off, I think, too. He's always got his mind going about work of some sort. For me, I can't as much anymore, but back then I used to try to, the moment I got done with work, I had to turn work off and do something else. And so my time is important. So then when we're spending our time at the racetrack, and Caitlin's one that's actually kicked my ass a few times and said, hey, like, you just gonna quit screwing around, or what are we doing here? Because she's obviously taking her time off of work as well, and she's got kind of that same competitive fire.
Oh yeah.
So it works out well, I would say.
You guys never play Monopoly all against each other, do you?
Nah.
No.
Does anyone actually play Monopoly? Feels like a long game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Good.
I was going to say, kind of turning it then to your profession. I know, like a little bit ago, alluded to, it might have helped you in the RC world from, because you're working with the controls and all that. Do you feel any of that helps you on the track too?
Well, I think so. Yeah. Like say being a logging business owner, it's, say my dad and I, he's had our business for 38 years now, and I've been in it for 12 now. And, say we run, if anybody knows what my car looks like, or my race buggy looks like, it's Ponzi. Like Ponzi is a Finnish brand of forestry equipment. And that's the machines that we've ran ever since I began. But yeah, like say the internals, like you have an Opti, it's called, is your computer screen in front of you. You're pretty much playing like a real life video game. You have a couple dozen buttons on each hand. You have grips. And you just are you're using your hand-eye coordination, your depth perception for harvesting trees each and every day. So I've been doing that constantly for, I was thinking about this the other day. I've probably logged at least 30,000 hours on the machines over my 12 years. Because like say, instead of mileage, the machines go by hours.
Yeah.
So
How many trees do you think that is?
Man,
That's what I thought he was going with that.
Yeah, no,
trees he's cut.
that's a good thought. I guess I don't even know how many I cut in a day. It all varies too, because your different harvests and everything. Like sometimes you're doing a clear cut depending on the species, and say normal thinning. So it depends. Say your day to day, how much wood you stack up in a day. But yeah,
How much
that
wood
varies.
could a woodchuck chuck? I'm trying to spin it off. How many 2x4s have you made?
Plenty. Yeah.
A few houses worth.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are some of the challenges that you face in that logging world?
Well, say since I began, a lot of it's been, say, the market on it. So when we began, obviously, say we got into the off-road racing, I can't say anything like we were doing pretty good. We were pretty comfortable. And but we were also building back from not having anything either, just with my parents splitting up and everything. And then that was when when I was out of school. And I chose that, all right, am I going to go to school or am I going to try getting into the industry? And I'm very thankful with everything that I've decided on, but it was from lots of hard work at that time too, because we were able to make okay money. And but it was a lot of hours too. Like we were never home, and honestly, all in all, we're not really home a whole lot now either. But yeah, I'm sorry. What was the question? I got off on a rant. And
No, just the challenges. You were chasing after.
All right. So yeah, like say the challenges over the years, like say since COVID began, say the paper mills, the needs aren't always there, or say for that specific thing that a paper mill needs. So in it would have been 2021, we lost our Wisconsin Rapids mill paper, and that was 75% of the area's wood supply went in there for their hardwood pulp. That's smaller diameter hardwood trees. So yeah, that was 250 loads a day that paper mill used. It was the newest mill, say, out of any of the ones that are working now. So that was a huge hit to us. So it's just been, say, always chasing different markets. Like a lot of what we do now is local. A lot of Mennonite Amish mills, say for our larger diameter wood. And then say we just have to travel a little further for the paper mills to take in our smaller diameter wood. So it's always chasing, obviously, the money it takes to run the machines day to day. That's increasing. So it's just been a learning experience, but just kind of constantly adjust things. But say specific to us, we don't work for anybody else. Like we deal with just private landowners themselves, and we deal directly with them. So we don't have, say, a boss of a sawmill that buys somebody's wood and then we only get a certain amount per, say, percentage or amount of wood. So we're able to give them pricing on things and say just the pricing's been up and down or just needing to be adjusted over the years, just based on we need this much money to run day to day. And just making adjustments there, but we put our heart and souls into it. I'm very passionate about the industry now. Me being younger, so Brad and I you're 31 now, right?
Nope,
Not yet. All right, so we're in between. So I just turned.
I thought.
So I just turned 31 now. So me being younger in the industry now, I take a lot of passion and try to do as much as possible for, like, say, the future, because the median age of a logger is it might be like 60 years old now.
Oh, geez.
It's quite old. So like say
Can they run joysticks at that age?
Hey, my dad's 68 and he's still going strong. Nice. I love working with him. That's for sure. That's been it's very rewarding what we do. It's just us. We don't have employees or anything, and we just subcontract our trucking out. But it's with the paper mills that we deal with, the procurement buyers for them. Working with UW Stevens Point, we've had classes from college, from high schools around our area come out to our job site. We've had a couple over the last couple of years, and being able to showcase, kind of the industry that way. And then they talk about tree marking and just say me or us being operators, having the business. And then one thing that I do hand in hand with, say, getting the sponsorship through Ponce is I go to, it's called a log-a-load at Kids. Each year, I've done it for the past 4 years now. And I take my buggy, they give me a brand new harvester, or they deliver it from Rhinelander, And I get to talk to, say, groups of kids throughout 2 days in the fall. And I get to tell them about my experiences, about the machine, about my buggy, obviously. And they really seem to enjoy that. And I've gotten actually really good positive feedback from it. But yeah, just to do as much as I can for the industry, just being very passionate about the last handful of years. I just want to see it constantly progress and, being able to support a lot of people.
Yeah. So anybody listening wants to do logging, slide in your DMs, get some lessons.
Come run some joysticks, yeah.
So I assume your dad's probably competitive as well, if you're competitive.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, my dad was involved quite a bit, obviously in the RC racing, and then, I don't know, the first 3-4 years, he stayed at the racetrack, like in the camper and everything too, and he just enjoys his own deal now, and just likes to work and be home and do his own thing. So, but no, it's enjoyable, and he wants to see me do well and say everybody involved.
So have you guys with the logging equipment ever had competitions? So you have the one that grabs a tree, cuts it, and then can turn it, and then you can toss it if you wanted to.
Yeah,
like
the harvester, yep. Yeah, cut the tree down, it pulls it through with the feed rollers, delimbs it, cuts it into pieces, and then stacks it up. And then say my dad is running the forwarder that has the bunk that picks up my piles of wood and then takes it out to the landing for the truck drivers to load up.
Okay.
Yep.
So 2 different equipment. So you guys don't get in competition.
No, not necessarily. Say in the past, we both knew each other's equipment or was able to run it, and I'm able to do that now. But say my dad would have trouble hopping in the harvester these days, just with all the tech and stuff now. It's say from when I started with the old machine that I was running to say now, it's a completely different animal. But they're impressive.
So it's a few more buttons than his flip phone.
Yeah, man. He this is funny. He always liked his bag phone. Like say you plugged it into your cigarette lighter years ago. Man, that thing worked anywhere. That analog signal. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
All right, everybody. Just want to thank 21 Gun for getting us some bourbon. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I got our refills.
Yes, definitely. I know we were just discussing some job-related stuff, but let's get back to the racetrack. And looking back over the last couple of years, what would you say is your most sketchy racing incident that you've been involved in?
Well, probably the 2023 race crash at Bark River. That's probably the most sketchy and say things that have gone wrong. So yeah, that for sure.
What about getting turned sideways in turn 1 at Crandon?
Yeah, I don't remember what year that was, but yeah, that was wild. And then thankfully, say with our class, we have the cutting brake, and I was able to just mash the throttle and just lug it out in 5th gear and just kind of bring it back around. But yeah, that land rush start sometimes is not good, especially with our open wheel cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much.
No, and I found the video of that one when I was going through stuff too, and I was like, you're sideways in front of the field in turn 1. It's like, oh boy. Mm-hmm. But it was a heck of a save.
Yeah.
Is the spot, were you spotting for that then?
Yeah, I think that actually kind of sorted itself out before I could really talk to him too much. And I think sometimes in that situation, I try not to say anything because he's so busy in the car that there's nothing I can tell him at that point that's going to help the situation. Gather it up's not. He knows he needs to gather it up. He's looking at the grandstands where he should be going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So almost keeping your mouth shut's just as important sometimes as letting them know what's going on.
Yeah. I've only been in the Spire Tower a couple times, but that's got to be nerve-wracking. You're anticipating driver coming out and just seeing him sideways going through turn 1.
Yeah, definitely not your ideal scenario. And I think back then we might have still been on the grandstands for spotting instead of up in the turn 1. What are they? or what do they call that thing?
Storage containers.
Storage
the
containers.
stacked up storage
Yeah, I
containers.
believe we were still on the grandstands, so that happened
Sure.
right in front of us.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're at the mercy of hoping he can get it figured out, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Those stacked up containers, I'm glad they took some notes from ERX and made those nice and stable.
Uh huh.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. An observation I've kind of always noticed in the Pro Buggy class is that, like, a lot of the talented people that go to Pro Buggy, they kind of not stuck there, but they just stay there. There's not a lot of people that leave out of Pro Buggy and go to more like trucks and everything like that. I know we were talking about Minder just not too long ago, but just kind of in generalness, they don't really leave. Why do you think that kind of is?
No, that's actually a good observation. I guess, yeah, it's a tough class, like, say, specifically with us or me, is, say, we got right into the Super Buggy, Pro Buggy, whatever you want to call it, class right away. But, say, to do anything more, even if we're, I guess the next step seems like it would be, like a Pro Spec or a Pro Light. And at the end of the day, we've had many of discussions, like, I think that would be kind of going a little bit backwards for us. As far as the suspension, majority of the times we're going faster. I guess just what's the word? Like, not fanfare, but just everybody, that's always the vibe, is to go to a truck. So yeah, I mean, but that comes at a lot higher cost, a lot more time working on them. So yeah, it's a difficult thing to say get out of the class, because it is so enjoyable and fun to race against with everybody. But yeah, that's kind of been the reasons. Like, it's hard to get out of it, just with everything in it.
Yeah, because like you said, it's hard to justify Pro Spec or Pro Light. So really, if you're going to go somewhere, it's going to be a Pro 2.
Right.
And that's here to here,
Right.
for cost and just general needing of attention. So
Yeah. Well, just fiberglass alone, I know, say, talking to some people, I mean, I think you could spend easy $15K in fiberglass in a year. And that's, all in all, that's a lot of my budget for the buggy, say, in a year. So, yeah, to even think about that is, say, being younger, or say it was always like, oh yeah, maybe we could do something, say, when we were a lot younger racing, and now say reality has hit and I'm like, we just got to enjoy it and just do it for fun type of thing. But yeah, like, say, years ago, it was like, oh yeah, it'd be, say, fun to be like a CJ Greaves or something and go Pro 2, Pro 4 racing. But I got to be realistic at the end of the day. And but yeah, I matured a little bit there.
And the competition is still really good in the buggy class. I mean, I think if it died down to a point where you were racing 4 buggies, maybe I think some other drivers would say, all right, if we can't have good competition here and we're still spending this amount of money, then maybe that would push people. But I think you're hitting it right on the head there, that it's such a good class that the next alternative is just unrealistic for most.
Yeah. No, actually, that's a great point as far as the competition goes. Like, we were talking about Pro Spec's going to be probably one of the classes to watch. I guess I'd argue the buggy class would be one to watch also. But say from when we began to now, it's increased tremendously, and everybody involved, I think, has a chance at winning. So yeah, if that would ever change, it would have to be something to look at to maybe change it up or whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, it'd be awesome to run a truck. But realistically, just the way everything, the way our lives and everything are, it'd be impossible to do it.
Yeah,
I'll say, because other things would have to be, say, put on the back burner, and say racing is what needs to be, say, a back burner or just more of a fun thing, but still be competitive too.
Yeah. Plus, most of your class, the age is over the drinking age. So
Yeah.
I think that's it can be a positive however you spin it, but I think that's kind of cool too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it
There's
just
a
comes down to
variety.
time and money. I think it takes way more time. I think it takes way more money to even go to a pro spec at this point. And we've had the discussions. Talked with Dylan Parsons a lot, their team. You have more guys. It's more work during the week, and you really need somebody like I would say you rely on Mikey or somebody else a lot of the time if we need tubes fixed or
You'd have to
slung.
do things yourself a lot more, I'd say. Yeah.
Neither of us are fabricating anything on that car.
No, yeah.
At the end of the day, so you'd almost need one of us would have to be willing to go learn how to do that, and it would just take so much more that I don't think.
Or get more people involved, but that would probably more money would have to be spent to say pay somebody for that. Or,
people would that ask that question a lot because he gets asked that a lot. I think nobody truly knows how big of a jump it would be to go from pro buggy to pro spec. Yeah. And quite frankly, pro spec I don't really think other than maybe one or two tracks goes as fast as pro buggy, and I think pro lights maybe on the opposite side where they maybe tend to go a little bit faster than pro buggy most of the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you've seen Jordan jump to a Pro 2 right away.
Yeah.
I think the skills are there for him, and if they have the financial backing to do it, it makes way more sense to just go straight to Pro 2.
Yeah. Yeah. You and Dylan should swap seats for a race,
Oh yeah.
or at least maybe a practice session.
Yeah.
Get
No, I'm sure he would be good with it because he was great in the single buggy. So
Actually, didn't he do a fill-in for
JD Coran?
JD?
Oh,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it might have been.
I know he did actually twice.
Okay.
Have to ask him how he liked that.
Yeah.
It was at ERX was once, and I want to say Crandon.
Okay. I remember Wiens filling in for
Oh no,
JD
Tyler filled
too.
in at Crandon. Yeah, but at ERX, I'm pretty sure Dylan got to jump in.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're probably the closest to fitting in the same seat dimensions. Tyler probably was stuffing phone books underneath his butt and pillows behind his
Trying to get up
back.
there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So going back a little bit where you talked about where you wanted to take it to the next level or maybe more serious, what would you say is now the recipe for track success and like prep in between races?
Well, say over the years we've just learned what to do and what not to do. I guess it's just been say trying and learning from say things working or not. But just kind of tires are a big thing in our class, and even last year with the few races that we did, we decided we need to stick to say one tire because say the different type of tires, whether we go to a radial that's a lot shorter of a tire versus, well, say it always used to be a all-terrain tire and now we're to a all-terrain winter tire, more of a narrow, taller. So that really changes your gear splits in our transmissions. And say if you're flip-flopping between, that changes your setup as far as shocks, ride height. You're really, say, having to adjust your car quite a bit just to change the tire. So we just have learned, all right, this track, we need to run this tire, vice versa. So just little things like Brad has many of notes to say change from track to track. Like we kind of just know, all right, we're going to Crandon. We need to do this, and that. We're going to say Anago. We need to adjust things for that type of track. So I guess the years of experience have helped out that way and to be able to have success with it.
You got the black book.
We do now.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at it a lot next year because I think the tires that he mentioned that the rest of the class went to that before we did. We kind of lived and died on the radial tire for a long time because that's what he was so fast on for so many years. And at the end of the day, with 4 laps to go or 3 laps to go, a radial tire on a pro buggy is typically, he's still faster on a radial. However, the class competition has gotten so good now that the radial tire, how slow it is at the start of the race, you can't risk the car being that slow and hoping that the tire and the track are going to come together because you're going to be in 6th and you're going to be too far back.
Yeah.
So it's almost more important now to run the winter tire that is going to make great traction immediately, to try to get out front right away. Because if once you get stacked behind Jordan, Billy Booth, Chaden, your work's really cut out for you, and then you're going to be on the same tire as them. Yeah. You're hoping that your radial tire is going to come in by the end of the race, and then you've really got to make something happen the last 2 laps. Where I think now we're going to have to make the transition to that winter tire like the rest of the class has. Maybe 1 or 2 tracks where we can get away with the radial, but that's going to be the biggest thing next year. And then that has changed everything from gear splits to how we tune the sway bar and the shocks as well.
Yeah.
Well, the tracks have changed actually quite a bit since we ran a full season too. Like say Bark River and Crandon have drastically changed their dirt.
Yeah.
Like say just for example, Crandon, like say last year in the spring, I was like, what kind of track are we racing on? It was a lot more sandy. It was not as consistent in a corner, like where before you could just push into the corner as fast as you want and it'll stick. The track now, it's a lot more sandy and not as consistent to be able to pick, say, your specific line. So that was a big learning experience. But yeah, like Brad was saying, like say Anago, that's a lot more clay. We can get away with, say, anticipating track conditions with the hard pack clay. My radial tire is going to be a lot better. And say I'm able to adapt between the couple different tires. But like say specifically last year at Anago, we had an excellent track the first day. And then that next day it was a mudder.
Yeah. More than a mutter.
Yeah, that was nuts. Where you couldn't even drive straight on the straightaway. But that was where instead of say everybody just going over to their winter tire, keep running theirs, we went back to our normal all-terrain tire, and that's a harder lug. It's able to just scrape through that mud more easily, and man, I actually had a decent amount of grip out there. I was able to drive around the track pretty well compared to everybody else struggling. So tires are a big thing. I mean, even going back to the RC cars, tires are, I don't know what percentage is an RC tire. I mean, it's got to be 3/4.
It's more than that. It's probably 90% of your setup
Even-
at the end of the day with the right tires on the car.
So knowing that, tires are important to us running the buggy program. So, we don't cut corners running tires because we know that's one of the most important things on the car.
Yeah. When I went out to California for the gas series at Victorville at the fairgrounds, we were on the winter tire setup, and they were all on the Hoosiers.
Oh,
So
Okay.
like when the track was freshly cut up, because they usually like actually cut that track up between different races, I was getting all kinds of grip in the beginning, and then once that thing packed out, those Hoosiers were see you later.
right.
Yeah.
So that's like a same thing you were saying with the tire setup and the changes.
When we would go out west a couple times we did, they'd almost look at us like we were nuts for even putting them in the trailer.
Yeah.
And then everybody out there ran radials, and that's where the idea for us came from. That's how we got it, and we started running them back here. And I think they allow the car to rotate a lot easier without using the cutting brake so much, and then they still make surprisingly good forward traction. But for smaller tracks like Dirt City and Anago, I think they rotate a lot easier, a lot smoother. And
They
don't
skip
catch
over
ruts.
the ruts a little bit easier, and it's not as grabby. So you're able to get a little more sideways for that tighter sections of the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thinking of like the track or the prep between race weekends, just going through the Instagram, it looks like where you guys prep is at your shop, at your house. And it's just like a normal 2-stall garage type deal. And you guys still are able to push out great prep, despite, some other teams have huge fancy shops, lifts, all that stuff. Do you think that there's any, that makes any limitations for you? Or have you found all the ways around it already?
Well, say prep has changed, or it depends on the year. Like, say sometimes, say at my house, it's just that couple car garage and just very small. So, say after a race weekend, I unload all of my stuff out of my trailer. Like we live in a residential neighborhood.
Yeah.
Unload everything out of my 45-foot gooseneck trailer, like nut and bolt bins, everything, everything I need, and say do some prep there. But other years, say where my dad lives at his shop, there's a 40 by 60 building there.
Yeah.
So that's a little more room, and that's like, say, where I have a parts cleaner and, like a welder, air and stuff like that. So that makes it a little more easier. But say why I did it at home sometimes is, say, just with my work schedule and then having to go work on the car after work.
Yeah.
I never get to see Caitlin or anything. So it was nice to be able to be home and then work on the car also.
Yeah.
But it's not the same either, having a little more space. So that's flip-flopped over the years on working on the car in specific places. But yeah, we I don't know, a lot of it's kind of cleaning up the darn thing and making sure everything's spotless.
Yeah.
And then doing, well, depending on what track you're going to next, like say our buggies aren't easy to say swap gears or transmissions. Like for a lot of us, we have to pull the engine to be able to change transmissions or change gearing. So usually we just have a long and short track transmission. So like say Cranon is the long track transmission, and then the rest, depending on where it is, we'll run a short or a long. So there's a lot of time into just swapping transmissions with the motor. But even just the CV axles, like with the buggies and stuff too, that's pretty huge. Mark taught me right away to, just do that after 2 weekends. Just don't let that go over, just to make sure you don't have any cracks, any wear items. And that's pretty huge. And also to run good products too.
Yeah.
Don't run any cheap stuff. So yeah, just little things like that to just make sure everything is spot on, and there's enough that can happen randomly. At least you're somewhat confident to go into a race weekend and know your stuff is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've race prepped at a shop that had hoist and all the fun stuff. Then I've race prepped at just my house garage, and I'll trade a hoist for some sandwiches on demand anytime.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It is nice being home.
Yeah.
That's where everything is. Yeah, it is. Yep. Sometimes it was a big pain in the ass and then I got to take my trailer a half hour away to say where our shop is and everything. But all in all, I go back and forth every day, past everywhere, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Awesome.
So there's been a lot of talk on UTV racing, and especially 2020, a little bit before that. But do you think UTV racing coming about in the fashion it did and all the spin-off series is what really saved short course racing?
I mean, everything. It's for sure helped as far as racer numbers and everything. Like I don't know. There was, sometimes it's easy to poke fun at the classes and everything, but it's doing a purpose and bringing people into the series and off-road racing. So yeah, I think it's good overall.
Yeah. I kind of compare it to like light buggy. It was kind of like the light buggy was the appealing thing to get into because it was cost effective. And then this UTV came along, and I can finance this? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Gave an avenue into the sport that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
How many people do you think have stayed?
That's a great question.
I don't know. Like, I would just be curious just to know how many people got into a UTV and bought something else and stayed in short course off road.
I will say,
been a
like,
few.
yeah, when I started 2016, 2017 era, there's quite a few there's at least 4 that went into trucks or buggies.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's 4 out of 40, but
4 more than you had before that, though, I guess, to
Yeah.
consider it.
Yeah, that is a good point, because I think back to when you raced and I was around there. There's, like you said, few and far between,
yeah,
but
I would say a good amount transitioned.
yeah.
And a good amount are still racing like the Pro Mod, which is, you might almost consider that thing just as high classed as a Pro 2, Pro 4.
At this point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those things are wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those things are crazy. In your opinion, number one thing the series should do in order to extend their long-term stay?
Don't look at me.
I don't want to say too much bad about the series or anything because they have been around for longer than anybody else has.
Yeah, they broke records.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, nobody's going to be happy with, every decision that's made. But yeah, I mean, we got things that, we can talk about on our own and everything that, isn't, we're not too happy with. But overall, I mean, it seems like they listen for the most part to a variety of people, not just, sometimes it seems like, all right, they're just listening to some of the top racers that do this for a living and nobody else. That could get into, say, doing all this extra traveling, like, at least in the Midwest, this has been here for many, many years. Why are you trying to go out to where things have failed in the past? So I don't know. There's good conversation both ways. So it's good to at least dabble and see, they're slowly going into different opportunities.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Got a different take on that?
Not too much. He's the one footing the bill. So I do think just from, I know it gets brought up about purses and things like that. I know we have had this discussion of, well, it'd be nicer if the teams could get some more like passes. Like the fact that a team like Grease or Henderson isn't getting 10 to 15 passes for their team is mind blowing to me. Because when I've been to a couple of NASCAR events, or I have some friends that are involved in that, in some higher end race teams, and NASCAR will give them whatever they ask for to get them to the track. Yeah. And they will bend over backwards for those teams to get them to the racetrack. And I don't ever see that with us. Not so much us, but even the top teams that you talk to, they're trying to get to the track in a whole different sense than what like a NASCAR team is.
Yeah.
I do think the purses need to get better, not necessarily for Pro Buggy. I mean, I'm sure they do, but Pro 2 and Pro 4, why that's not higher. Like I'd love to see the finances of where all this money goes, and maybe it's right where it needs to go. But I think when F1 kind of got forced to do that a couple of years ago, and it showed where all the money was going and what the TV package costs and everything else, I think that opened everybody's eyes up to where we wouldn't be having these conversations at that point, because everybody would know where the money's going. I understand you're running a business and it's still a private entity where you want to keep it to yourself, but it would settle a lot of these questions. I can tell you the race that this car won, I walked out of that building with a check for $5,500 for 3 days of the same amount of time we spend at Grandin. Yeah. So
that's more than a championship for
right. So I think that's where you see some of the guys that know things like that. Yeah. That's why they ask. 10 pit passes for those top teams shouldn't be that hard. I think there's just things like that that could be done better to get them to the racetrack.
Yeah.
I think they'll find a way to go race regardless, but how many more teams would we have trying to come to the racetrack if they knew that it wasn't going to cost them an arm and a leg to get there?
Mm-hmm. I think that's been a common theme is like they do a ton of great stuff. Like you said, they've been around the longest probably now, but it's that transparency piece that always feels to be like, even if they could connect some of the dots, like you said, it'd be okay. Like that makes sense. It's going to the right place. It's just where it should be. But I think without that transparency, you lose that a little bit.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, F1 went through that cycle, and then just recently NASCAR had a similar cycle, not the same, but I guess when that all happened, I was driving a PRI listening to all the tidbits of it, and I'm like, oh man, this could trigger like a lot of different race series to have the same problem.
Right.
And you could interchange the word NASCAR with Champ or NHR or whatever, and it would fit so well. So It's kind of, we'll have to see if anything like that transpires. But either way, I mean, we got to be happy that we have a race series that didn't change names
At the end of the
and
day.
owners
Right.
within 2 years.
Right.
Right.
Like we're on year 6 now, or going on
Has it been that
6 or
Was
7.
it 2020 was the first year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
For a series that we all almost left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Someone
you-
else.
that pool party was pretty cool.
Right?
Like,
I agree.
were you there for that?
I was.
Yep.
Yeah, that pool party was pretty cool.
Yeah, that would have thrown a lot of wrenches and things.
Yeah.
So one thing we like doing is kind of giving you a chance to give your top 5 greatest. Sometimes we do Pro 2, Pro 4, but we'll start with greatest Super Pro Buggy, top 5.
You wrote this down, didn't you? You did.
Yeah, I had to.
I gave him a heads up, so
Yeah.
I don't know if he brought
I-
that to
I
you.
He did, but
transferred.
I mean, I've been so new into it that I'm not going to have what he's going to have, I'm sure.
Well, no, actually, I guess only to my experiences, it would be maybe 2011 and on.
Yeah.
So my memory doesn't go back that far. So that's kind of how I based off the top 5 and everything.
Yeah.
But like, I guess if we're talking about Pro Buggy, I got to do you need a 1 through 5?
So
Or?
go 5 to 1. Got to
All right.
build the anticipation.
All right.
So many people lay down their number 1, and then it's like,
That's true.
well, there
Okay.
goes all.
Yeah, there goes the next 5 minutes.
Well, that sounds good. I guess I got to start out with Tom Schwartzberg. Like, he's been for years and years of racing, like, say my top 5s and stuff aren't going to be like results driven. It's going to be, say, off track help, just, like the ambassadorship, like we were talking about earlier. So Tom, I don't know if he ran last year, but I mean, he's been racing since Crandon began.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And like, say, a little off topic, but like, say between Tom, Herman, Joe Eppers, like before a race weekend at Crandon or Barker River, whenever all those guys ran, I absolutely love talking to those guys because they have so much knowledge and just, all kinds of history and, all
That
kinds of
sounds cool.
experiences. So, yeah, unfortunately, we've lost some of those guys, but,
Yeah.
it's great to remember them too.
Yeah, I think Barnum was just a year and a half ago or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Joe, it's got to be a handful of years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But say number 4, then I'm going to go with Steve Creeman. Like, same thing like Tom would be, when I started racing, he was one of the higher competitors. And I know from, say, before I was involved, he was one of the top guys and was able to battle. And I think it's been a handful of years since he ran, but he had, say, the older versions of cars, older motors and stuff. But honestly, he was pretty competitive at that time when he was running. So I got to go with him. And then I guess I'll go number 3. I'll do Bud Ward. He's one of the guys that's just a blast to talk to. He's so down to earth, and he's always willing to help, just like a lot of other people. And then, say for number 2, I'll do Garrett George. Say when I first began in 2016, when we were racing, everybody came out from out west for that fall Crandon weekend. And he was, say, amongst the rest of them, he was one of the ones that was just pushing really hard. And say at that year in 2016, he got a 1 minute, 25-second lap time in the Pro Buggy class. And he just edged me out and gave me a little bump in the finish line corner to take the win over me.
Yeah.
I got a good hole shot, and he came back from like the 4th row where there was a lot of buggies back then.
Jeez.
So he was doing some wheeling at that time, but that's always been a goal, is to get back to that 125 mark. And last year at Fall Crandon for that cup race, we did that. So that was a really cool feat. I've always been chasing Garrett's lap time there.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's fast.
And say Crandon's track now, I'd say has a lot more elevation and jumps and stuff. So, I mean, I guess I'm not sure how that varies from, say, 2016 to now.
Yeah.
But the track has definitely changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess this top one would be Scott Schwabe then. I have a lot of really good memories with him over the years. Like he ran very, very competitive when we began, and a lot of good knowledge and say lessons that I've learned with him. And yeah, I mean, him and Ryan, they're great, great ambassadors of the sport. And it's always enjoyable to hear stories from that side and over his years of racing.
Yeah. That's a pretty solid list. I got to admit, I didn't know half of them, but just because the bug, I don't super keep track of the buggy past history. You know, obviously we keep track of it now, but it's hard to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody you would add?
So I didn't think he was actually going to bring up Garrett George. So that was going to be one that would have been on mine for sure. Scott Schwabe wasn't one I was expecting, but now that I think about it, absolutely that would have been on the list. Him and Ryan, I would say, also are two people that we've talked to a lot and gotten advice from. You know, other than that, like I did listening to AJ Schmidt's podcast here recently. I had no idea that his dad was so well versed in buggy stuff at all.
Yeah.
So it's my knowledge base doesn't go back that far to know a lot of these guys. So I'd probably do more disrespect than I would respect to picking anybody. But I'd like Creeman. I don't remember. Like you pulled that one out of your hat. That's impressive. Other than that, that's really going to be about it for me.
No CJ in there. I suppose it was such a short period. It was.
Well, we were texting. Was it yesterday? Did he run for sure 2 years, or maybe did he 3? But he ran a couple cars. Say at that time, he ran a racer car and an Alumacraft car, so he had some time in the class. But no, I mean, say at that time, it would have been what's the 4-wheel drive car? Caitlin's gonna kick. Yes, is it Bruce? But yeah, Frana, the 4-wheel drive car. I remember just going to the races, say with my dad, and watching them. It would have been Mitchell DeJong, CJ, Schwabe, you know, that mix of them.
Yeah.
And that was like, say, where beam cars were actually pretty popular. So, yeah.
Sweet. Solid list.
Yeah. Like you're bringing up, though, anytime we have like someone on that has a lot of history, it like I listen to it and go, wow, I would have never guessed that. Like something comes out of the woodworks and like you said, buggies. I'm like, well, didn't even know that. So that I have the same problem where my off-road racing history ends way before some of that stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool to see the spider web that's keep on growing. Every single time we get somebody on, suddenly, oh yeah, this person got me into racing. Oh, I raced with this person as a teammate, and then it just keeps on going and going and going. It's crazy how everything's pretty much connected.
Yeah. Well, even like the pro buggy racing out west, you know, back in the early 2010s or maybe a little bit before, like there's a lot of like say dads of racers of recent years that were whipping up in the pro buggy class. Well, even like say Doug Fortin and Mike Porter, like Doug Fortin's Fortin Transmissions, and Mike Porter, Red Line in Anaheim, California. But like a lot of industry people that raced that class and did really well with it. And it's cool to see the results or videos like on YouTube from years back or just from talking to people.
Yep, they passed down the racing gene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I do think that's going to be like 5 to 10 years from now. I think that's going to be unless it changes, something that we're all going to regret is you can't go to YouTube right now and rewatch the races that happened last year or things like that. I think that's going to be a tough thing to get over from like 5-10 years from now. You're not going to have access to that history anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the recaps of the races on YouTube that Champ has. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that I believe needs to change is like say the race coverage. Like well, you know, going back to the RC race of last weekend, it was part of a national series the first weekend of like say their year of 5-6 rounds. But they had a crew of people from Florida for the production, and they were doing all kinds of interviews, and everything was live on YouTube, live on Facebook. Like, I guess I believe that needs to come back a little bit because, like, just, you know, some random, like your neighbor or something can't, like, oh, all this racing that you talk about and everything, like, where can I watch it? Well, do you want to subscribe to this and pay the money? Like, I don't want to talk too down on it, but it does suck as far as, it's not easy to access.
Yeah. It's not I look at it this way. It doesn't allow new eyes to get on it very easily because, like, in order to see it, you have to go to the paywall. And it's like, how many people are going to do that? Well, you're going to do that if you love the sport, but it doesn't give someone a chance to see if they like the sport.
Yeah.
That probably goes back to knowing where the money's going. If it's something that's bringing in money, well, then, it might have to be what it is. But
Right.
if it's not bringing in
Yeah.
bags of cash, then
Yeah.
let's go to YouTube.
I don't want to talk down on the series at all because I know that's not productive. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll guarantee if we weren't on Flow, I wouldn't subscribe to it. I don't watch anything else. So,
Yeah.
I mean.
I think I bought a Racer Network
Oh, yeah, for the
subscription
Crandon one,
to
too.
watch
Yep.
Friday night at Crandon. That's the only
That's
thing I
another
use that
thing, too.
subscription for.
Usually they'll sprinkle that in Crandon's YouTube feed. I'm not sure if, say, the last couple of years have, but they have gotten that onto Crandon's. But, yeah, that's just behind a paywall, too. But there is at least a live feed to it, though,
Right.
free.
They're going to get the hardcore racers or the hardcore fans
Yeah.
because even when that Nitro Rally Cross was going on, and I forget what it was on, but it was on something I never even subscribed to, and I still have the subscription today because now now I found stuff that's cool on it.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
back then it was all right. I just want to see the rally.
Well, and for Flow, I think a lot of people bag on Flow, but if you actually go on Flow, it's easy to shut Flow off at the end of the off-road season and not really pay attention to what else is on there. But there is actually some really good racing on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So like I'm a fan of just watching racing in general, just being around race cars, whatever it be. And I mean, Chili Bowl's on there. Snowcross is on there now. I haven't watched a snowcross race in years, but because I had the Flow subscription, I went and watched Canterbury Park.
Yeah.
Was it last week or a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, actually, I should probably turn it on and see if I can find something I enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's late model racing. There's dirt oval racing every day of the week. It seems. So during the summer. So if you really pay attention to go and make sure to log into that, you'll find something you're gonna like. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched some pretty big races, circle track races on Flow too. Like for me that likes racing, Flow is awesome.
Right.
But if you want to watch one specific thing, then it gets tough. But
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty minor thing. It's just it would be nice if it was more accessible for other people.
No, it's good production and everything there. It's, just the accessibility is tough
Yeah.
with, say, everybody wanting to, say, grow, but how you, I don't know. You could take it a number of ways. I
I mean,
mean,
Flow has the ability to put their races on YouTube because they do when their website crashes.
Yeah.
So
I think they do put highlights and stuff now.
Yep.
And I think they live stream some portion of the Sportsman. They
That's
started
true,
that at the end of
even-
at the end of the season. They started that, I think. So
they might have sprinkled in even, like, say, our class, like, for an hour free feed on, let's say, pro
Yeah.
start of racing. So,
and I think that's a healthy tactic.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we get that Pro 2 top 5?
Sure, if you want to.
We're ready for
All
it.
right. All right. I'll do, say, number 5. I'll do Jeff Kincaid. Being, say, my dad originally from Crandon and stuff, we have talked at Kincaid's, not a ton or anything, but, say, Jeff is always super, super friendly to me whenever I see him. And, I remember him beating up on everybody years ago and, just kind of like that hometown feeling, just same as Keegan, as, whipping up on everybody.
Yeah.
And then kind of under the same thought for my number 4 would be like, say, Chad Horde. Say he's actually in the forestry industry, as a business owner too. And say years ago, quote unquote, I shouldn't even say this, but like teammates, like we were both supported by Ponce to some
So you were-
degree.
Yeah.
Obviously he did Pro 2, Pro 4. I think he did Pro Light too, right? But just say him and his, his grit and being able to beat up on everybody else. That's awesome. And then number 3, I'll do. Ooh, man, this is hard to pick my number 1 now. I'll do Rob McCachran for my number 3.
Okay.
I always remember just the different liveries. Like, say, when I first began, it would have been like, say, when Mopar, like Ram, was like big on the liveries and everything, and their stuff, like that whole Traxxas team and everything, that was really cool. So Rob Mack for sure. Then
That's what got you into racing, because they had the trucks at the track.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the RC racing began, was at the Crandon off-road races. They had an actual, say, qualifying racing during that weekend. So I raced for a few years of doing that at Crandon and Bark River off-road race weekends with my Traxxas Slashes. Yeah, and then it snowballed into more of the competitive stuff.
And then snowballed into a big thing.
Yeah.
Really snowballed.
Yeah. No, it's wild to think of just how the progression happened. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then number 2, I gotta say Mike Van Heuvel. Even him and his family over the years of all the ambassadorship in the program, but just with him helping me out so much, and I always enjoyed, like, say, he was the underdog racing against all the higher class, or say higher represented teams, and he was kicking butt. So I got to go with him for my number 2. Then number 1, I'll do Scott Taylor. I remember him in the Miller welding truck, say, when I first began, and I know Caitlin and I have talked about him a lot. Like, I was talking about the Miller welding truck, and she was like, "No, I remember this livery or whatever." Like, so he has a lot of
Character.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff from over the years that people remember him by.
Yeah. Also, you just saved your butt from being able to have your car worked on by Mikey again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Scott Taylor's the first time. Russ Wernemont used to either build trucks for him or work for his team, and his son Carson raced competitively with me years before I knew Michael or the short course stuff. So my first time at Crandon was my dad and I were invited by Russ to come and hang out in Scott's trailer.
Oh wow.
And I just met CJ at the time as well, and become friends with them. And so that was my first time everyone in Crandon was watching a cup race from the top of Taylor's hauler.
Yeah.
And they were a super cool family. Wish they were still coming to the track, but that whole group and team was pretty awesome to be around back then. That was probably 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were just phasing out, I think.
That's a pretty good introduction to off-road to be brought into that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
VIP right there.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
That's sick.
Yeah. It's all downhill from there.
Right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and I didn't go back to the track for a couple of years after that, but I know Carson, I still talk to him every once in a while. He's racing UTVs out in the desert for Kawasaki, I think, now.
Oh, really? Okay.
So.
Cool. Yeah, so you have any altercations to the list?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I think that's right. I think my favorite time of watching Pro 2, period, is watching Keegan and CJ go at it. I know it was only the two of them for however long. I guess Horde was in there a bit. But when those two, Spring Crandon, I want to say, one of the years, I think they were maybe no less than 3 feet from each other the entire race. Seeing the patience of those two and how much respect was treated with one another, racing Pro 2, those are my favorite times to watch short course in general.
Yeah.
So I think by the end of their careers, they'll be probably the two best that you're going to say that ever did it, really. I think Keegan in Pro 2 and CJ in Pro 4.
Yeah.
I like that Shane Stetsny will say now, or he's willing to say, like, CJ is the GOAT of Pro 4. And I think that's true, and I think we should all enjoy it. And I think anytime that Keegan's on the track, we should enjoy watching him as well.
Yeah.
Because I think you're not going to see two guys like that, similar in age type thing, generation come up again and give some of the ass whoopings out that they have in the past.
Yeah. We need Keegan to do a full season. Maybe you can call him up and give him some inspiration.
No, it seems like there's a variety of people that kind of flip in and out of full seasons, and I completely understand it.
Yeah.
It's tough to do year after year, but yeah, that was back when the big cubic inch engines and stuff, like there's a lot more finesse to it too. That was badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Pro 2 may still have been on project tires back then. It was probably back in those days.
Yep.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah. Should we get into that Pro 4 then? We got a little bit into it, but
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I gotta do my picking. I didn't really line it up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but there's some heavy hitters, that's for sure. And I wish there could be, say, a top 10 because, like, you know, there's so many people that deserve to be up in those higher ranks.
yeah.
But let's see. I'll do number 5, like Carl Annesvetter. Say he was kind of getting out of it when I started watching and everything. And, you know, he's just, you know, even from earlier in our conversation, like he's all kinds of accolades to his name, Pro 2 and Pro 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was fun to watch out there, and just the different tracks that those type of guys raced on more regularly. It's always fun to go back and watch those.
I see he's got a niece or some bloodline is racing
Yeah, I saw that.
this weekend.
Yeah, with the UTV, right?
Yeah, I think it's a UTV.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't get to dig in it too much, but I seen a couple people post.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be kind of cool to see another bloodline progression.
Yeah. No, hopefully they continue on and have fun success. Yeah. Number 4, I'll do Scott Douglas. You know, he's one of the best in here. He's a great ambassador, just like, well, probably everybody else on this list. But yeah, he's still within the off-road series, especially like say with the partners that he's branded himself with over the years, like say Amsoil, and he still helps out, comes to the races even though he's not racing, but he was always a heavy hitter whenever he's on the track, and say really fun to watch. Kind of, you know, he was one to bang some doors and everything. So yeah,
he's doing a lot with Amsoil for, I guess, the current last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to do the top 3. You
Good.
want to float in
That's
there,
where
Brad?
it's tricky.
Every podcast I've watched, is the top 3's been kind of a shit show. So
Yeah.
I think it's like the hardest.
Yeah,
I mean,
because someone's going to be unhappy.
right. Yeah.
well, do your top 3 10 years from now, 15 years from now. What do you think it's going to be?
Oh, wow. I mean, I guess we can get like CJ has got to be one of the first ones for sure. I mean, just, you know, he's been so helpful through the years. He helps everyone and anyone. Just so calm and collected racing, and you know, he'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
He's always very nice, and one of the best to ever do it. But say on that same note, say his dad, Johnny, he's the same way. Like he's super helpful. Like he's helped us out on the shock tuning and stuff, I know, last year. And, you know, he's been doing it for decades, just like a lot of other guys. But, yeah, just that great ambassador. That's one that's really fun to watch, obviously, just the different driving. What's the word? Different driving. CJ's a lot more calm. Johnny is just crazy, and that's a fun to watch too. Yeah. So no, it's always enjoyable to watch him. And then say
once he gets a little frustration in him, all of a sudden the red light comes on.
Yeah. Then we can throw down some heaters. Then.
Yeah. It's gonna be checkers or wreckers.
Yeah. And then say the final would be like say Kyle LeDuc. I mean, he's like say one of the innovators, just like a lot of these other guys in the class, and it was always fun to watch through the years of him getting better and better and going through the classes. So yeah, just have say the Greaves family, the LeDuc family, just so many families that are just, very important to the off-road community.
Absolutely. So, am I hearing it right? It's Kyle number 1?
Oh, no, I guess I flipped around. I guess I got to say CJ is number 1, to be
CJ,
honest.
okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we
Yeah.
get the record straight.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Johnny is...
I'll do number 2 and then Kyle 3. If we put numbers on it, screw it.
We're putting numbers on it.
Yep.
Alrighty. Nah, I think that's a solid list.
I'm ready. My DMs are open. Come at me.
I think most of those guys can text you.
I think this with CJ, I think that's always why it's difficult because people don't know where to put CJ yet.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you if you're looking 10, 15 years from now, it's really hard to not see CJ as number 1 on that list.
I think if he ends today, he's still number 1 on that list for now. Not that somebody couldn't oust him. I think RJ could make a bid for that if he ever ran a full season or
Very
a couple
true.
of full seasons. I
Yep.
think
Yep.
RJ's 1. How long did Rick Huseman race, or how if that wouldn't have been cut short? How
Yeah,
how
that would
well?
have been a close contender, too.
Right.
Same with Kyle LeDuc, if that wasn't cut short for him too.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I think you could probably make the same argument for Kyle Greaves in Pro 2 by the end of his career in Pro 2, or whether he moves up at some point.
Yeah.
Will he be one of the best to ever step in a Pro 2? I'd say you could probably make the argument he might be.
In years to come, yeah.
Right.
I guess it depends on that aspect. I guess it depends on how long that window's open.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you could look however far ahead you want, but
I think that the only hang up I have with CJ and Johnny, and I've said it multiple times, I'll just say it one more time, is that I kind of give Johnny 50% credit for whatever CJ does. Because,
I think that's fair, probably.
yeah. So he can quit today and still get 50% of the homework done.
Yeah.
Right.
But, yeah, I think that's a solid list. I think that's the top 3 that everybody kind of gets stuck on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, even like Huseman said that was before my time, but I know he was a main guy that probably should be amongst all these names also. But yeah, that's like I said, I wish there was, say, more than just a 5 you got to pick. So
When it gets down to the top 10, it still is difficult.
yeah,
Because really, it's only the top 3 that's super hard.
And I think you forgot Rob Mack in there at some point, too.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one you're like, oh, man, I left that out
Oh, for
completely.
sure. Yeah.
The longer you think about it, the more you go, oh no.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, another, man, we're hitting you with all the questions at the end here. If you had to give the title of pioneer of short course, I know you say your focus is on when you started, but if you had to kind of give a pioneer title.
Oh, boy. I don't even know. You got any ideas?
The only one that comes to mind, and it's not, I guess, as far as local, or like what do you...
Just like, who do you think really kind of like helped short course become what it is today?
Go ahead, Michael.
Well, I guess like Kurt Leduc kind of comes into mind or something, like say those early days. So maybe I'd have to go with Kurt.
I think that's a solid answer.
Okay. Yeah. I've had a couple very small conversations with him, and he's extremely nice. And just that Leduc last name is very important to the off-road industry.
I've had no conversation with him, but I've listened to him walk up and talk about the podcast, and that was worth it.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the last hard question.
All right.
All right. So one thing we always ask, though, is who do you think we should have on next?
Well, I guess I'll say Mark Steinhardt, or even like Scott Schwabe, Ryan Schwabe, like say those early buggy guys, but even like say Glenn Matthews along that same line, like he's helped out with Mark's program, and say Glenn raced before that, say when there was like that 2-seater single buggy, light buggy stuff. So say names like that would be really cool to dive into the weeds on, say, just the stories from over the years of their travel and things
all
like
the
that.
teams that they've helped, everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mark and Scott have some crazy stories that you'd probably want to hear.
Oh yeah, I
for
bet.
this. So if you had those two in here together,
Yeah.
I think you'd get a heck of a show.
Yeah. We'll have to work on that. Awesome. I mean, that depletes my list. Unless you guys got any subjects you want to cover, or David got any
Nope.
questions left?
Nope, we covered everything. Unless there's anything you guys want to.
I'm good.
Yeah.
been a
Yeah,
pleasure.
no, thank you very much for
Thank
the
you a bunch
invite.
for coming on and also being the person you are in off-road. I mean, you're helping other teams just as teams helped you and being a good ambassador for it, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna do our best to be as competitive as we are this year, and I look forward to, telling everybody kind of what we have planned coming up here. Things are slowly kind of getting in line for the coming season, and not as fast as I'd hoped, but I think Brad, Caitlin, and I are very excited to, introduce, some cool sponsors and just, continue the partnerships that we've been building.
Yeah. Well,
So-
when you get that all finalized, give us a call and we'll do maybe a phone conversation
All right.
podcast. Get your
Nice.
get your announcements out there.
All right. No, that sounds sweet.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.